So, how many years has it been since we've been together on a couch to critique a movie?
Joe.
When was the last time? We
on a couch?
I mean, even just. Oh yeah, we used
did
to.
the-
Yeah,
we
so
did
it was
the
the
remote
COVID.
episodes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
we did a
COVID
COVID
episodes.
period. But on a couch, it's been a minute.
2019 maybe.
I think we did Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and I think that was pretty much the last time many of us went to the cinemas.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we are back. And we came back.
No, missed opportunity. If Infinity War was the last time I went to the cinemas before the COVID thing, that would have been made more poetic justice.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, my last
And
time.
the cinemas are closed.
My last time in the cinema was Bad Boys 3.
I didn't see that in the cinema.
That was in January of 2020. Yeah, that was in January. So
Which cinema?
a bit.
Really?
Yeah, COVID hit us real bad late March.
Has anybody been to Montgomery?
Where is that?
The drive-in cinema.
I haven't. I've heard people.
I was there 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
with the B&W Club when we were celebrating their 3-year anniversary. But I didn't stick around because someone made a mistake with the movie selection.
What do you mean by the way?
So B&W boys and girls come to a surprising amount of B&W female owners. Very inspiring, very enlightening, and joy bringing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so B&W boys and girls turn out to celebrate 3 years and 63 years of Ghana, but we know which one's more.
4 years of Ghana.
We know which one's more important. Like, I'm not even counting that one. So yeah, we come to celebrate the car group's birthday. And then as part of the festival, you say, okay, we go to the Montgomery, the drive-in place, to watch a series of car movies. But I spoke with one of the guys organizing it, and we decided down, like, what movies are we going to play? And it's like, okay, we need something obviously with BMWs in them, because we can't just, car movies, yes, but below that, we have BMWs, they should have significant presence in them. So some of like the
Makes
Bond
sense.
movies were eliminated because yes, they have significant presence, but knowing Bond, he's going to smash them up, and that is not going to leave the best
which
taste.
Bond was it that there was a Z4?
Time to Die.
Yeah,
and then
he's literally chopped in half.
And there
Like
was an M5, or was that an M3 or M5?
5.
Yeah, where he
The
had to
remote
go
control
to
it,
the
and then he
controller.
just smashes it. Like,
he drove it out.
Like, and I was like, those are the exact movies I was thinking of. Like, not you, but then
low key, does that mean that? Because I mean, in Quantum of Solace, he broke the.
Aston.
Okay, no. So he pretty much breaks every.
No, yeah,
It's a Bond thing.
Like,
He breaks everything he owns.
Yeah, because Spectre, he wrecked the car when Batista was chasing him. Yeah. Okay.
But then, a thought occurred that, like, okay, but which other action spy franchise does a similar thing but doesn't mess their cars up that way?
Mission Impossible.
There you go.
Oh, and they are sponsored by BMW.
There you go.
Yes, they
Right.
are. Yeah.
And I
Mission
thought,
Impossible has some.
some
driving.
exactly.
BMW.
Even the bikes.
Yes, Tom Cruise doing his thing. So like, okay, this is it. So and then there was also Ronin, older but classic.
E34s.
Yes.
The old 5 Series. Yeah.
So it's okay, we can get a decent selection of movies, and then we can start to split it up like what other car movies and stuff. So you think that okay, first car movie would be something like Ronin or the Mission Impossible movie. We get there and the person they play Baby Driver. And what pained me most of all was I was getting tired, and I said, okay, I'm only going to stick around till the end of the car chase, which every movie has a central theme, car chase. It's the end of the car chase, thinking it was going to be Mission Impossible, because like, oh yeah, and then we get to that. Do I end it at the car chase or do I end it at the bike chase? Like, at least I had options, right? And then the movie starts and it's like Baby Driver, and I'm like, I never thought there'd be a time where
you wouldn't want to see.
Yeah, I see Baby Driver load up and I'm like, why? Why are you here? I don't want to see
Baby
you.
Driver is not a car. I mean, there's a car scene. There are car scenes in it, right? But I don't consider it like a car chase movie because, for some weird reason, I like Baby Driver because of the music selection. The soundtrack to that movie is epic, right? Because it has all the oldies and stuff. I've not really considered it like driving. We have to watch it again, but
It's
I just feel like it's
okay.
a weird choice for a car.
Well, the intro one is.
What year
pretty
was
strong.
Baby Driver?
17.
17.
Seems.
And that's a very perfect segue. Because in 2017, a certain movie was released.
It
Was it in
also-
2017?
Yeah, it was 2017.
Wow.
The Justice League. That's what the world calls it now because we mean Joss Whedon's Justice League was released in 2017. To much chagrin, like not many people were feeling the vibe.
I mean, even this car chase was dull, and you had a Batmobile. How do you make a Batmobile car chase boring? Not boring, but
Guys, first of all,
generically dull.
was it his fault?
You know
Nah, I
what?
don't blame him.
Let me set the scene about what happened as far as
Yeah,
everything I
because
remember.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, and I'm taking it way back. So in 2012, Zack Snyder gets to do Man of Steel.
Uh-huh.
So at
Which
this
is
time,
epic, by the way.
epic, one of the best superhero movies for me personally, please. And
It works. No, it's basically a live action Dragon Ball, and in a believable way that, like, yeah.
No, Man of Steel is when General Zod showed up.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that was epic. I
you
mean,
see that like two Supermen fighting, duking it
Yeah,
out.
that
Like
was-
this
that
is what
was
you
epic,
expect to
man.
happen. Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
look,
And he brought everything to life. He brought Krypton to life. He brought. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that was the whole
people
thing.
do not like it because they feel like Superman has been. This is a term that is used a lot these days. I'm sorry I'm using it, and maybe Obii might have a problem with it. But yes, they feel it felt like Superman had been misrepresented.
How?
So people prefer the cut and dry, self-righteous. Like I know I'm good and I'm doing good because for the sake of goodness.
The man,
Superman.
he's
The flying
called
brick.
Super. People forget that he's man. There's man
Man
after
in
the
there.
super. Like honestly, like what is this?
For me, it's a great movie because I get to see a Superman who goes through the process of figuring this thing out. Because it's very rare for a person to be good
nah,
for the sake of
Superman with character.
Exactly.
Not a literal blue and red flying brick with a cape attached to it.
Yeah.
That's always
Yes.
been my problem
Yes.
with the Superman character as a
You know,
whole.
Superman's the rescue.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just throw it at the problem,
Yeah.
he will solve
I mean,
it.
let's be honest, Superman is a difficult character to write. First off, he has over 90 years of stories on his cape.
Agreed.
So very, very difficult.
Agreed.
So I felt like Zack Snyder did a good job with this new take because I know there's going to people are not going to like me for this, but Christopher Reeve's Superman, not a huge fan.
But that's all we have to go on.
It's a product
We
of-
had what's his face? Superman Returns.
What the newer ones?
No,
The
you
older-
did
the
you
older-
don't you remember the
older-
Superman
the
Returns
old- the
movie?
older-
That wasn't
the
Christopher
older
Reeves.
one.
That wasn't Christopher Reeves. That was the dude who plays the Atom in CW shows. The one where he comes back from Krypton after. It's supposed to be a continuation of the Christopher Reeves stories. So he comes back to Earth from having gone to explore Krypton to check out what was going on. And he was a creep. It was not
But
a
could
good
it be
movie.
good? Because I don't remember it.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't.
It
Look,
wasn't.
that-
The only cool thing about it is that he carried an island of kryptonite.
The only thing with the Christopher Reeves era movies, I just like those are movies of their time, products of their time. So I give them a little bit of a slack for it, a little bit.
For me, I don't like the Christopher Reeves stories because it's always fly, catch this person.
Oh God,
Dude, it's always the saving
bro,
things.
Don't
There
do
wasn't
that.
much story.
Don't do that before you even start thinking about
But
the
that's
Spider-Man of that
exactly.
era as
So
well.
you see, because we go from that, like he said,
I mean,
throw a
it's-
break
yeah.
at it and he'll solve it. You come into Zack's Man of Steel. Wait, who did Man of Steel?
Zack.
It was Zack
Zack,
Snyder.
yeah.
So you come into his Man of Steel, and now you have a multi-dimensional character.
Exactly, and
Right.
which
Like
people
an
found to
actual
be slow.
character that you see grow and develop and become something.
And this movie was what, 2012?
2012-ish.
2012.
Yeah.
And at the time, Marvel is putting out hit after hit.
No, at the time, that was when Iron Man 1 had
That-
also shown.
That's why
No, Iron Man 1 was 2008.
2008.
Okay,
Yes.
2008.
So there's been 4 years of Marvel showing the world how it should be done.
How it can be done.
Yes.
Oh wait, I made a mistake. It's actually 2013, Man of Steel.
There you go.
Yes.
So it's even there's a lot more time between Marvel's first output with a very controversial
Okay.
Iron Man, and even from the character of the
Which
actor.
does anybody remember the rating for Iron Man? Because I watched it again. It's my favorite Marvel movie, hands down.
82.4.
No, I mean like, was it R rated? Because there was a lot of very obvious killing going on.
Well, I thought you meant
it
the
wasn't going to be
Rotten
R-rated.
Tomatoes.
No.
It wasn't going to be R-rated. I think that one was PG-13.
Because I mean, when you take the cave scene when he built the Mark One, he just showed up and he was just gatling gun everybody.
Yeah,
that
but
was intense.
come on, we're getting more intense action. What you call it? Action scenes. Let me put that way in earlier movies.
Okay.
The cliffhanger and things. So it wasn't PG-13. It wasn't that wild.
So
Deadpool came and showed us what an R-rated action movie is like.
we'll get to the R rating of this Zack Snyder's movie, but moving on. So Zack was supposed to do Man of Steel 2. He'd been signed on contract to do a couple of movies. He was supposed to do Man of Steel 2. Now, if I remember correctly, I was in like my 3rd year of uni, and there was a bunch of interesting switches. For Man of Steel 2, we got news that Batman was supposed to show up in this Man of Steel 2 movie. Then we got more news that Batman is going to be a predominant character in the movie. And then we finally got the news that it was going to be Batman versus Superman. Initially, we thought it was going to be a 2-parter, but it was a 1-parter. And then we got the Batman versus Superman movie. Controversial
Which
movie.
is terrible, actually.
I actually love that.
No,
If
but
you watch the
it's-
Ultimate
it's-
Edition.
What Ultimate Edition?
There's an Ultimate Edition.
but
Zack
it's not
Snyder's
like
cut.
comeback. What's going on?
Extended cut.
There's an extended cut
They-
that adds about, I think, 30 to
30
45 minutes more.
Oh, so it's not about Martha and Martha and Martha and Martha. That's
I
not.
actually like the Martha scene,
Oh,
guys.
guys, come on. Man.
I actually like the
Seriously,
Martha
you
scene.
have-
I want to
You
see
have
your
these
I
two
want to see your
iconic-
reaction to that when they bring the similar scene back in Godzilla versus King Kong and tell me you like the Martha scene.
No,
there.
no.
God.
People don't.
Let me tell you something. You can't. My issue with that movie, right?
Yes.
Was because Zack Snyder had the benefit of knowing the success he had created with Man of Steel,
Yes.
right? Batman was perfect. Jeremy Irons, I love him to death.
Bro,
casting
perfect.
him as Alfred,
Perfect.
fantastic.
Perfection.
Like between Jeremy Irons and
Ben Affleck.
no, not
Oh, you mean
Batman.
the other
the
Alfreds?
other Alfred? What's his name? This amazing British actor.
Oh, the one who was in Dark Knight. Michael
Michael
Keane. Keane?
No,
Keane.
Kane.
Yeah,
Michael
Michael Keane.
Right?
Sir Michael
I
King.
think Sir Mike.
Yeah.
Michael.
Sorry
Sir
for
Michael
left.
Caine. Those are like the epitome of Alfreds, right? So the casting was perfect. I have no issue with Ben Affleck. I still have no issue with Ben Affleck as Batman.
He's a perfect. For me, he's the best Bruce Wayne.
He's fantastic, and he matches the growth of the character. He matches all of those things. Right?
Yes.
So you have him, you have Man of Steel, Superman, Clark Kent, who you've built, and giving all of these multifaceted dimensions, and there's so many avenues for like plot growth and character
Yes.
growth and stuff. And then you put them together, and then you have Lex Luthor being played by
Jesse Eisenberg.
what's this guy's name? The guy from
Jesse-
Now You See Me,
Jesse
right?
Eisenberg.
I mean, you have a triad of like essentially hit makers, and then you hinge the story around my mother is also called.
He
Martha.
didn't hinge
Oh,
the story on that.
I mean,
Hinge the story.
I don't know how I don't know how they let that come into the cinemas and then withheld the Snyder Cut. Like honestly, it doesn't make
Come
any
on.
sense.
He didn't leverage the entirety of the plot on that. You know, this is what I normally ask
I'm
people.
sorry, and
It gets worse because someone did mention that if it's not just that, then it also means that Superman becomes a simp for Lois Lane because you can tell
Oh,
from
he is.
across the
Not a simp per se, but his emotional attachments. Like, you know, where in Man of Steel, his dad talks about finding your rock or something like that. And he's made Lois Lane his rock.
he
And
needed his whole down foundation.
on her. It's problematic.
And it's not even
There's
still
that-
reinforced,
there's
but it's
by
made
the
of
way,
sand
there's
because
an
any
agenda we have
small
to
thing.
discuss.
Which is?
Okay, which is all of this, the subtlety of feminist empowerment in all of these movies where now it's fat. There's a lot. Look, 2020 has been a long ass year. Like a lot of stuff on my chest that I want to discuss.
Do you have that scene in your
See,
head? 'Cause
it makes
scene?
no sense.
the scene he's talking about.
You
There's
know what I'm talking
there's
about,
one
right?
scene. There's one scene he's talking about
In which
the,
movie?
The Justice League.
The Zack Snyder.
Yeah, the Snyder Cut. There's one scene he's talking about.
I
that
have a
movie.
feeling it is Wonder Woman taking a pause to talk to the princess.
No. Wait.
What?
Was it? The schoolgirl.
Yeah,
yeah,
she's a
yeah, that's the
princess.
one.
Well,
That's
they call
the-
her princess.
Man, sorry, that
I mean,
it really didn't stick that deeply inside my head. It was just like, why is this here?
You know, let's go back to so BVS came to much disputes about whether it was a good movie. It's one of the more extremely
It's very
divisive.
divisive.
Yeah, I mean
Very-
divisive superhero movies. I am in the camp that totally loves it. I felt like it set up a very interesting.
Did you totally love it?
I'm literally in the middle. There are some things of it I enjoyed.
You know what? Let me say in just a few minutes why I loved BVS. I'm not a huge fan of many Marvel movies. Do they do epic stuff?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of many Marvel movies. Do they do epic stuff? Yes, they do. They are very fantastic at weaving a certain tale and paying off certain plot threads that have come from different movies, and that is fantastic. I love the fact that one man, Kevin Feige, shout outs to you, can be sitting at one place and then weave such an intricate story and a studio.
Can we please shout out Stanley? But what's this one man, Kevin Feige?
No, like in a sense, like in this conversation, we would have to discuss Warner Brothers' role in this entire debacle.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying Kevin Feige under Disney has been capable of doing all of this, building all of that.
Technically, he wasn't under Disney, right? The Disney purchase happened.
Yeah, but it's still Disney's money. Disney gets a say in everything they do. But they
Even before the thing was officially bought, the Marvel franchise was.
No.
No, this is my point, right? When did Marvel get acquired by Disney?
It wasn't.
It was early.
It was early. It was
before.
like 20.
It was before.
It wasn't before Star
Well, I
Wars.
think it was before.
No, it wasn't before the part. It was doing before Iron
Before
Man.
Iron
came.
Man, I think
before
so.
Iron Man. It was before Iron
No,
Man.
wait. Iron Man
No,
is a
what are you talking
Paramount
about, guys?
picture movie.
2008. There was no acquisition. Disney even hadn't fixed their shit in 2008.
I mean, this thing, Iron Man 1 is a Paramount movie.
This find out because the Disney acquisition did not happen.
2009. So it was just.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 2009. So that's when Disney.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think that's what affected the tone of the movies moving forward, because Iron Man 1 is one of the more hardcore.
It
Marvel
was.
movies.
Wow,
It was actually very
I did not
hardcore.
know that.
It was, and
It's
after
2009.
that acquisition,
Yeah.
you can see the Disney softening of things.
They're softening up. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't really, because my issue with Marvel is that we don't really see the repercussions. We don't see it, and here's the thing: we don't see the repercussions from the point of view of those experiencing it.
Tangent.
Yes.
They're fixing that.
With Wonder, yes, exactly.
WandaVision.
I will
They're
give you that.
fixing
They're
that.
fixing that with WandaVision, although quite questionably, because I still believe Wanda is a villain in that story.
No, she's actually so you see, we'll have to come back to this agenda.
Yeah.
The agenda is playing a huge role in this, right? Because
Okay.
with WandaVision, she goes from like, oh, to like,
We'll have to skip.
to like.
I'm gonna have to skip that part of the conversation. I start with
Oh, we are not going to talk about it.
No, we're not
till
going to
you
talk
see
about. I'm just saying like there's a general trend towards like, okay, what is she? Like I feel like in every after you go past episode 3 of WandaVision, you start to like, wait, what's
After you struggle through.
after you struggle? Yeah, it is a struggle. honestly.
Yes,
like,
it
you're
is.
like. You,
I mean,
let's not get
It's a struggle in
distracted.
the sense that when you come to see it, you're like, this is supposed to be a Marvel flick. But if you love nostalgia and stuff like that, you'll be cool. I was okay, but it was still a struggle.
I just for me, I just thought the writers must have had so much fun,
Putting this together. Yes.
because it was like essentially going through different generations of television.
Of television, which was
Right.
really.
But
I
that
love the way the aspect ratios were switching up.
Bro.
This is becoming a WandaVision a review. But yeah, so I love BVS because it answers. It felt like Zack Snyder sat next to Christopher Nolan and they had a conversation about, which is true because Christopher Nolan is the executive producer.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be the Kevin Feige of this DC. That's a we'll have it later. But we see the repercussions. We see that yes, you're a superpowered alien being. You tried to save Metropolis, but the property damage, the lives lost. In a world here today, you would have to answer for those questions. For those things, you would have to answer.
Okay.
And that's one of the things I love about BVS because as much as it was a superhero flick, it was also a socio-political story, which was touching on morality in the sense that where his mom, when he goes to ask his mom, now what should he do? He was like, be their hero or don't. Like, you get to choose.
You decide, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I love BVS.
So again, you loved it because you saw more aspects to the layered character that he was, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel like Batman had the same number of layers?
Yes, because I was interested in what I liked about Batman is that we saw that his trauma from the childhood had increased. That he got into a place where it's obvious he's lost so many people. He tells Alfred in the movie, he was like, we've lost so many of, how many more good guys are there? How many of them stayed good? So you can tell that he's been through a lot, to the point where he's constantly having nightmares of his parents' death. And every time he wakes up, the last thing he hears is the last words his dad says, which is Martha. Which is why the Martha scene for me is great. Because it was a thing that it made me feel like Zack Snyder really reads the comics. Because I always read the comics and it never came to me that, Bruce and Clark's mothers share a first name. Something that I'd never... And if we think, and this is a question to the both of you, per the context of the story that we got in BVS, what was a better way to save Superman from being stabbed by Batman?
Save my mother.
That's I'm glad you said
I have
this.
a mother.
I am glad you said this. Now,
or heck, have them weep and then just say, "Mother, I'm sorry," or something.
here's the thing. Here's the reason why it wouldn't work. Now, saying "save my mother" to someone who is about to kill you, those are your last words. Effectively, Superman is about to be run through by a spear of destiny, a green spear of destiny. He's about to be killed. Jesus Christ, R.I.P. Pretty much. But here's the thing. If he told Batman, "save my mother," and Batman runs him through, Batman now has to go through the trouble of figuring out his real identity, then finding his mother, then going to save his mother. She would be dead by then. But saying "save Martha" reduces how much time he needs to spend to do that search.
Actually, that's even before we even get there. The lead up to that fight, when your man is like, "I have to talk to you. I have to tell you something."
I think that was pride. Because Superman could have tanked all those hits and still had the conversation with Bruce. And he chose not to because Bruce slapped him with sound waves and some
This is
stuff.
where your story is falling apart, right? Because then there's so many other avenues that we could have gone down.
But a story is a dramatization of events.
Yeah, but
the fight had to happen.
First of all, nobody says save Martha. Who's Martha?
That's the point. But as opposed to saying, "well, save my mother."
So what? Is it the name that's the trigger, or the fact that that's his mom?
The name was a trigger.
Yeah, so Martha could
it was
have
a double
some chick
payoff.
down the road.
The thing is, it's a trigger he didn't know was going to pay off. And here I am lying down. I'm about to be stabbed through. Winston is about to stab me too, and I was like, "Please save Cecilia."
Do you know
Cecilia? I don't care about
do you
Cecilia.
know why this is fantastic?
And save Auntie
Do you know why this
Cecilia.
conversation is coming from you? Because Forsen and I had this argument, and the exact same thing you are saying is the exact same things he said. Forsen, you will be watching the exact same thing.
Actually, yeah, Force is more to the point. Like, if the two of us are going to the thing and I'm standing over here about to stab you, and what do you call it? You tell me to save you.
Now let me explain.
And give your mom's surname. Have you ever mentioned your mom's first name in front of me? And I've known you for how many years?
No, but here's the reason why it works. Like I said, it reduces the time where Superman thought those were his last words. So he was being selfless. One,
They
keeping
don't
his.
make sense as last words.
They do because
you see, and this is where DC has the problem. DC doesn't know how to clinch lines. They don't make sense as
It
last
does.
words. Who's Martha?
exactly that's exactly what Bruce asked. And keep in mind, Bruce is a person who is going through.
So okay, I have a question, random question. You think if he had said save Cecilia,
He would have
Bruce
died.
would have said who's Cecilia?
Superman would be dead. Superman would be
I think
dead.
it's a very convenient.
I don't be there thinking like
This is
which
the
one
exact
my
same thing that
which one
Force
my mom
said.
I
seems
think
like
it's
give.
very
Do I give
convenient.
Sarah or do I
It
give
is-
Cecilia?
It is a convenience that has been established in comic law for yonks now.
But it's unnecessary. It's the stakes.
The
the stakes were
you
too
know what?
high.
If we get stuck on this controversy, we'll be here for
so
another 30
let's
minutes.
move on.
The,
So
the stakes were too high to say Martha. And then-
same thing Forsen was saying. It's very interesting.
Stakes were too high.
Okay.
Stakes honestly too high.
Moving on. So divisive movie, as you can see.
That's some local movie. Honestly, the same man. But your mommy.
No one piece.
You know what?
I mean,
Let's continue. So divisive movie, as you can see right here. Then we move on to the brouhaha that was the Justice League. So
The Justice League.
the Justice League before it became Justice League. So what pretty much happened per Zack Snyder's telling is that he had started work on the movie. He was about 80% done. It was left with some CG stuff. And during the movie making process, after when they almost closed, they checked to see if there were certain changes they want to make so that they reshoot some stuff and all of that. Now, Warner Brothers had already lost faith in Zack Snyder because they said the tone. Because Warner Brothers, I believe, this is my personal take, because BVS didn't make money, they attributed it to the tone of the movie. They attributed it to Zack Snyder's storytelling tone.
It's too dark.
So especially because Marvel was on the more lighter side of things, so they felt like we need to go in that direction to make money because it's a business. Now it gets worse when Zack Snyder's first cut. He said this himself. The first cut of the movie he made was 4 hours. Now he said he made this 4 hours because I think this is a thinking. Wow, I feel like Paul from the Bible. Anyway, so I think this because after Zack Snyder's experience with Batman vs Superman, where even critics who have seen the ultimate cut say it's a better movie than, which is about 3 hours 30 minutes, he realized that he needs more time to tell these stories because unfortunately Warner Brothers didn't have the patience to do all the intricate story that Marvel had been doing for years now that they could pay off substantially. DC wanted to wrap it up and catch up as quickly as possible. And sometimes when you take a shortcut, things happen. So he makes this movie and he was like, Batman vs Superman was already established, but he had to introduce Bruce Wayne and Diana. Now he has to introduce extra 3 other new cats and then improve on the law on Wonder Woman and then on the state of Batman in the movie. And Warner Brothers insisted that it should be under 2 hours 30 minutes. And he said that was impossible because it wouldn't be a coherent story. So he was not in agreement. So it was a constant back and forth. I believe Nolan was on his side. His wife is a producer of the movie, Deborah Snyder. They were fighting Warner Brothers back and forth. And then, unfortunately, his daughter committed suicide during all of this. So, at the time where she had committed suicide...
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
That's why at the end of the movie, they write for autumn.
For autumn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she commits suicide, and now he is emotionally under stress and strain.
Bro.
And he has to fight the politics of Warner Brothers. The funny thing is that some of the things I've heard about Warner Brothers make it seem like a Ghanaian government agency. Because apparently the bureaucracy in Warner Brothers is terrible. Before you can get a project signed off, this person has to go and tell this person has to go and tell person. And that project, that social experiment where you whisper something to one person, by the time it gets to the head, it's a totally different monster.
Chinese whispers, yep.
Yeah. And now he's fighting Warner Brothers because he wants the 4 hours. But his family has been shaken by this. He is mentally under stress and everything. So he was like, you know what? I can't do this politics. I can't fight for this thing anymore.
Keep your movie.
I'm out. I have to leave. I have a family. I have kids at home. My wife and I, we need to take care of our family. This is a trying time. And we can't be fighting about 2 hours, 30 minutes or 4 hours. We can't be doing that at this point in time. So he leaves. Rightfully so. I mean, from a personal perspective, I think that was the right decision. I don't know from a business perspective or whatever. So he leaves.
No, he wouldn't be able, even if you want to think of it as a business person, he wouldn't be able to
work.
I mean, come on, if someone close in your family dies,
Yeah.
any sensible company are like, take time off by force. Like, whatever you're doing, stop. Because clearly something more important has come up.
Yeah.
But that's only if the company cares for you, which, I mean, not every company does.
Yeah.
Yo, I didn't know about his daughter communities actually.
Okay.
I just thought he had gone pissed off and walked off stage.
Oh,
This is
no.
exactly what happened, but there was context to it. Wow.
So he leaves, and just before he leaves, Jeff Johns had brought in Joss Whedon to be a consultant because he had made 2 successful Avengers movies. And Warner Brothers hoped that Jeff Johns would help. Joss Whedon would make it a lighter tone lighten up the movie a little bit, put some color into the movie and all of that. And now this is also a part where I think. So after Zack leaves, Jeff, who at the time was in charge of the DCEU, gives the job to Joss. Then Joss apparently scraps about 80% of the movie, reshoots, reshoots that results in one of the most interesting scenes in our life. That is the mustache Superman, or lack thereof, and not properly shown weird mouth Superman. And then the movie is released. But here's the thing, I don't blame Joss for this, because Joss was also playing the game. Because Joss had been given the proposition to be the director of the Batgirl movie. So it was like, you know what, I will do this, I will fix this thing, whatever it is, and then I'll get to work on my own project, which is the Batgirl movie. So he was just playing the game. And he'd been given tenets or things he was supposed to go by. Make this movie 2 hours, 30 minutes, lighten up, put a couple of jokes in there, change the color, correction, all that stuff. So he was just playing the game. He'd been given a directive and he executed. And then that's what we got in 2017. And honestly, it was not great. It wasn't great. So yeah, Obii seems really taken aback by the story.
No, because I can understand the creator having creative differences with his client or whatever.
Yeah.
It is a narrative that's consistent.
You get serious flashbacks,
Bro. Right. So, but I didn't know about the personal bit. That just makes it a lot more of a wholesome story, right? Because
Yes.
then you understand. And I sort of get see, Joss's movie, to your point, when we saw it in the cinema,
Yeah.
it wasn't like, there were points where we were like, oh snap,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he did what he did with Marvel.
What he had. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he brought his flair for making moments epic into certain aspects of of jail. So I remember when Superman shoots out of the thing, the cryogenic whatever. He just standing. It was like because then you could.
I actually think that was a Zack shot.
Wait, no, I'm coming.
Okay.
No, the fact that he put I don't think any of that stuff. I don't think Joss shot a lot more stuff.
Oh, he did. Apparently, he did.
How much more did he shoot?
Like for instance, so
Because,
some of the
and you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that because if you watch a Snyder Cut, unless you're saying that Zack used Joss's stuff.
no,
Exactly.
no. I mean, Joss used a lot of Snyder's stuff.
That's my point.
But-
I'm gonna assume that Joss might have used like maybe 80% of Snyder's stuff.
Apparently, the figure is lower. I forgot
So
what the
he
exact
shot
figure.
to make up for
So
this.
yeah,
Or this
he
was CGI inclusions.
He did a whole lot of reshoots. So, for instance, in the ending, the scene where they were under Gotham Bay, where they were fighting Steppenwolf and everything. In Joss's movie, Flash saves Wonder Woman, Diana, and pushes her, and he falls flat on her. It's not in Snyder's
Yes.
version. And apparently, that scene was even a problem because Gal Gadot said she was not going to do that.
Wait.
She was not going to do that.
So
And
turns
she
out
didn't.
Joss
It was a
Whedon
body
used-
double that actually
Joss
did it.
Joss Whedon used 10% of Zack Snyder's footage.
Apparently.
So he shot 90% of the movie again.
Yes. In about 2 to 3 months or something of the sort.
Rush job, what?
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on.
Wow. That's terrible, yo.
And Warner Brothers paid for him to do these reshoots.
I mean, your man was given a clear mission,
Yeah.
and
it was just a job.
He did execute.
He was
his
being
mission as
surgical
best
about
as he
it.
could.
Yeah.
I can't blame him because we do know he can pull together some epic stuff when he's given ample room to prepare. Why you give him this simple quote unquote contract job, which
Yeah.
essentially it was.
It was a surgical.
Yeah, so like I'll do what I can, but do not expect any miracles, which they clearly
Oh.
didn't receive.
Madness.
So this is why this is where we jump to the whole Warner Brothers being the problem. Because Warner Brothers in this case, so that's why I set up the whole Kevin Feige thing in the beginning. Because Disney put trust into Kevin Feige. We believe in your vision, go ahead. Now, Christopher Nolan being the executive producer for the DCEU was supposed to be the Kevin Feige of all of this. So there was a time where there was an interview where they talked about Man of Steel and everything. And Christopher was like, he supported everything Zack wanted to do with Man of Steel, except one thing. He wasn't sure about the killing of Zod. But when he took the story into context and like he respected the creator's decision, so he was like, let the creator create his thing. But Warner Brothers didn't put trust into Christopher Nolan enough that it would leak to Zack Snyder, in the sense that as for Christopher Nolan, if Christopher Nolan says, yo boys, I want to make this movie about rewinding time and rewinding everything, it's going to be called Tenet, and I need, let's say, $200 million to do that. Yeah, cool. They just dish out the money because they know Nolan is like a sure banker. He's on a sure thing. It's going to be a hit. But they don't have that faith in Snyder. But you would expect that if Nolan has that faith in Snyder, Warner Brothers should they should take Nolan's word for it, but they don't.
No, but you know the business of production is weird, right? Because there's so many interests that are vested in the whole thing, the entire ecosystem, like you were saying, right? So, I'm willing to put myself in Warner Brothers' shoes and say, look, you know, this might just be a bum project. Let's just put it out there and meet our production timelines and move on to the next thing, right? Because don't forget that the studio is also releasing other projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a point where, and you know, in terms of like cinema distributions and stuff, there's actually like a distribution arrangement where, if I'm giving you like a movie to distribute, like I'll give you like my flagship, but as part of that, you have to take 2 of my not too hot movies and circulate them. Right?
Okay.
So if their distribution network is large enough, they sort of know, okay, look, this thing, hardcore fans will see it. We'll probably generate maybe 100 million at the box office. We're good. You know what I mean? We'll try again on the next thing. You see what I mean? So I can see getting to the point where even Joss, because I really like Joss's work. I refuse to believe, like I didn't know he had shot so much more footage. So I'm guessing that even he had those roadblocks. Where they were like, okay, you know what, we've tried 2 guys, you guys are both dope, you guys say you need more time, we don't have more time, we're just gonna go with this, right? Clear out the editor who was attached to the initial footage, bring in some new guy board at all, let him sit down,
Chop it
just okay, so who's this guy? Nope. Who's this guy? Nope. You know what I mean? And then put it out, because you're going to miss that iconic summer release deadline, and if you pass that, that's pretty much it.
But you know, the reason why I wouldn't really, I don't think that's the case. I feel like it was a bit more personal for some Warner Brothers executives, is because if that was the case, why didn't you just release the 4-hour one? I agree, on an economic level, it didn't make sense to have a 4-hour movie in cinemas, because typically if you have a 2-hour 30-minute movie, you show it 4 times.
But that's not the thing though, because I think we've sat in Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter 7 was like 3.5 hours.
Well, 3.5 hours is the limit to. You're not going beyond that.
But Harry Potter was at 3.5 hours. And I
really?
Yeah. I think that, because I remember sitting in the cinema for Harry Potter 7. Every time the screen would go blank, I'd get up because I was tired.
Let me see. Oh, keep talking. It's 2 hours 10 minutes.
Are you serious?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 2.
2 hours 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
How about one?
Let me check.
That's weird. So I honestly think we've seen longer. I don't know why I think we've seen longer.
So
in
when
the cinema,
I checked,
I wish I didn't just come to mind and watch the Lord of the Rings movies.
It's 2 hours 26 minutes.
How about Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings is the one that's as close.
That's 3 hours.
You know, there's an interesting thing. Lord of the Rings, I checked recently for the running time of the movie, and the first one says 3 hours 48 minutes.
There you go.
I don't know if
wait, hold on. Is that the extended cut?
Exactly. That's the question I was asking myself.
The point is, we are not a culture that's new. The movie going audience is not a culture that's new to like extended cuts and things. People are doing this on their DVDs at home, right? There's a reason people actually go and buy the extended versions, because they want to see other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a cinematic release that's as dope as what's it called, Man of Steel, right? You know what the guy can do. You've seen it. Your audience has responded. We've bought merchandise. We've done all these things based on this one thing I did in 2013, right? And you have these issues, because I'm going to really bet that Joss also said I need more time.
Yeah.
I'm honestly going to bet. But they were like, no, you know what? Now we're looking at the money. So again, it goes back to this whole distribution principle, right?
Yeah.
Because like, okay, if I'm going to put this out as part of my bundle, I need it to be able to run in normal circulation time.
Yes.
We can't make an excuse because now I don't know what the output is going to be anyway. So I can't
let's
allow
keep
you
it
to
within
do it. If it was Zach, probably, because I know that Nolan has faith in Zach. So yes, let's go. But if you are saying you need more time, you just some stuff from Marvel, I don't know what your mind is at. So we're going to go with a 2.5 hours, whatever it is, and we'll just see what happens. Right? Now, so that's probably what the business decision was. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for them to make that decision in 2017 on the back of everything that Marvel is doing in cinemas. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, Marvel is kicking, and this is not because I'm a Marvel fan.
You know what? Let me check.
But remember what he said.
Back to back.
But remember what he said, that it's also a big thing about it is that they wanted to do it in a rush. They didn't want to invest the extra time to develop these things to build. Because when Marvel kicked off with Iron Man, it really was a wild shot in the dark. Everything about it was a complete unknown. Will this, because yes, by that time they did have an idea. I'm sure they even planned the entire cinematic universe where it's supposed to arrive. But then that kickoff, casting Robin
Downey Jr.
From that
it was an
moment,
experiment.
You know, yeah. I actually heard the story of the Iron Man 1 thing where Jon Favreau was there. I love Jon Favreau. When he's done with the Star Wars franchise,
amazing.
I did not think.
Amazing.
Bro, anyway, that's besides the point. So, Jon Favreau, at the time, Robert Downey Jr. was kind of blacklisted.
Yeah. He was blacklisted.
He was, because...
You know who actually put in a word to get him the job? Can you guess? Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard got him, like, put in a good word to say, Charlie, look, this is my boy. Like, let's
so
do
they
this.
actually put Robert Downey on Bond.
No. So do you know who they cast first?
That makes that.
They cast Terrence Howard first.
That makes that line so much more painful.
Yeah, they cast Terrence Howard
so
first,
much
which
more
is why
painful.
he had the balls to walk away when they said, you know, we can't give you as much money. Because it's like, I'm the star of the show.
Yeah.
But then after the thing comes, it's like, no,
No,
you're not. No, you're not. So that's actually, and this is what I'm going back to, right? There's so much happening behind the scenes.
Yes, there's a lot of politics and
You
business
know what I mean?
decisions.
But the thing it was a build up. Like, okay, let's see, based on the strength of where it starts, where it goes. Then it kicked it off. Then the second one kicks on. And it's like, oh, you're building something and it's working. But the thing was, it was a time investment. They allowed it to mature and grow. Now, Warner Brothers come in and like, we want, what do you call it? Now at this point, Marvel have grown a little.
Let me tell you the list.
A little yoi tree.
By 2017.
Oh, let me tell you.
Here's the thing.
This is 2009 to 17.
Let me tell you the movies
No, so
that were
actually,
coming out
so-
in 2017.
So it wasn't even a little yoi tree.
We have Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Bro.
Spider-Man Homecoming. And Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, so it wasn't a little yoi.
It was an oak tree,
This
Charlie.
was a mighty fruity orange. Like, drop those watermelons on my head, yeah? But then, now, Marvel see this tree and like, I want that.
You mean DC?
So yeah, DC see that, like, I want that.
But with less work.
Yes. Can you use, and I can just imagine the board sitting down thinking, can you use creatine to grow trees?
Let me tell you, it's like walking into an advertising client and the client says, I want a viral strategy because you haven't invested in the brand, you haven't done anything, and you've seen some music video. I want this. That's not how it works. Like, you see, Marvel actually put in the work, and Marvel is open to experimentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that Marvel has done has been great. I'm a fan of everything.
You said this thing, and like,
It's pending you.
You know, it's very funny that all three of us have some experience in this industry. Yeah.
It's so I can completely understand the CMO equivalent working to and saying, guys, launch their products. It's not ready. Go. You don't have time. Right? And let the people out there decide. By the time they are pissed off, would have taken their money already.
So basically, they wanted to put your seedling on stilts.
Exactly.
No, they did.
So
they literally
right?
put in a pot, loaded on some scaffolding, like, at least as tall as they are. Yeah. Like, it's not the same thing.
And this is the thing, and then you forget, and this is an issue. You know, this is an issue with the creative industry because then the business people forget that where all of your theme is coming from is from the creator.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
No, I mean in Warner Brothers.
A creator that it's allowed to invest proper time and work. What's that chart called? The one with the overlays in it. Where we
Venn diagram.
that Venn diagram. But what time, effort, money,
Yeah.
and you want to include all three.
At
And
the same
there's a
time.
sweet spot where they can include all three, but most of the time these guys choose not to include all three and everything. There's always a gap in the
Exactly.
middle where
Yeah.
they are not overlapping.
But here's the thing: in Warner Brothers' defense, they felt and believed, and they did have a very solid IP, which was the Justice League brand.
but
It's a very, very so they expected
It's
that.
not-
but
it's
yeah,
not
but
solid
it,
IP.
yes,
is.
no, it's not.
From a
It's
fan
not.
perspective,
It's
it is.
In 2017, it wasn't.
In 2017,
It
it was.
It
It
was
was because
not.
at the time the animations were doing
Guys,
so well.
Listen. You see, and this is my problem. You need to categorize your audience. They are the comic book fans. They are those of us who have grown up on comic books, so we don't really care what's happening in the cinema because like, okay, you made a mistake, we get it.
Yeah.
We're going to read the books. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then there are the animate me. I've seen more animated DC stuff across board
Yeah.
than I've seen. This Batman vs Superman, I stopped watching like 30 minutes. I was like, it's dead. I'm not continuing.
Okay.
Right? Man of Steel, it took me a while. I think it was you. It took me a while to like actually jump on this thing.
Okay.
I did a movie night where you came and watched it.
Yeah.
So,
It took me because and then I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting, right? Now, DC doesn't have they don't have the best history when it comes to putting out
that's true.
cinematic
Cinematic.
experience.
Except the Dark Knight trilogy.
But that's
The
Nolan.
thing-
That's
and
a
it was-
different
and-
thing
and
altogether.
literally, it's
You
so
see,
far
it's a
removed
different thing
from
altogether.
this new phase.
Which
like,
is why I'm saying that Warner Brothers, you would expect Warner Brothers to have faith.
No, bro, listen.
in Nolan.
Yeah,
The
they
reason,
really expect them
and
to have
you know, this
faith
is a
in
very
Nolan.
funny thing. The reason I watched Batman was because of Nolan.
Not because of the
I
Batman
didn't even
brand.
know who the people were. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know Nolan because I know the prestige. What? And he made a Batman flick. Alright, let's go. Do you know what I'm saying?
He made the Batman flicks.
Sorry,
My
I still
goodness.
have some issues with that Batman.
Don't you start.
No. Listen,
Don't you start.
untouchable.
It's highly very
Untouchable.
touchable.
Stop.
In
Stop.
terms of sarcastic decisions.
Stop.
No. What? Cancer throated Batman.
No. Bro, what's his
Christian Bale.
No, Christian Bale. No, for me, Ben Affleck is the best Bruce Wayne.
I agree. Wait, and I wasn't sure about it in the beginning, by the way. So let me just confess. You see, you're shaking your head. I wasn't sure about it in the beginning. Honestly,
Yeah.
it was only when I watched the Snyder Cut that I was like, this guy is not bad.
Yeah,
No, even in the original cut, I thought I can see there's a lot of potential here, but I could also see it being wasted. Come on, you saw the look on his face anytime it was mentioned afterwards. Like this man felt that like he put some work in there. And it
Bro,
was just
I actually don't want to talk about. Okay, you know what?
But
Since we are here,
but-
let's talk about what happened to Ben Affleck. So, Ben Affleck also got screwed by Warner Brothers. Ben Affleck was supposed to write and direct his own Batman.
I
Zack
wanted
Snyder-
that so
Let
bad.
me give you more information as to why it should happen.
So are you gradually? You see, we are gradually establishing the fact that Warner Brothers is the problem.
It's the problem, yes.
They are the problem.
Yeah, they are.
And this is the thing, right? This is the very, very weird thing, because they've taken two of the world's best creators, put them under one of the world's most prolific creators, and they still can't make a movie that slaps.
No, come on. It's like when you gather ingredients to make something. Ingredients that on their own slap. Like you find yourself snacking on them piecemeal. But if you don't know how to put them together
Proportions.
properly,
Yeah.
right? And
Completely.
even worse, after you make a hash of putting them together, you don't even cook it properly. What are you going to get? You're not going to end up with a cake or a pie. You're going to end up with road filler. That is not something that you're supposed to consume.
So Ben Affleck was supposed to write and direct a Batman movie.
Yeah.
Now, Zack Snyder was asked recently if he was the one who shot the end credit scene where Deathstroke shows up and everything. He was like, yeah, that scene was his. He and John Manganiello did that. And they were like, what was the purpose of that? So he was like, so he and Ben were talking about it, that in Ben's Batman movie, what the plan was supposed to be was that Lex Luthor creates his Injustice League.
Of course.
And with Deathstroke having a very huge vendetta with this thing. Now here was the interesting story lined out we've missed a lot of. The story he and Ben were coming up with was the fact that Lex Luthor has found out about the anti-life equation. And then he's found out that okay, this thing is supposed to be able to control all of humanity or all organisms in the universe. So he is like, they need to figure out what it is. So it was it's not a heist movie per se, but they were trying to figure out the anti-life equation. And guess who they put on the job? Which villain they put on the job? Which Batman villain they put on the job to try and crack the code?
The Joker.
The Riddler. Because it was a code.
Oh, the Riddler.
That needed to be cracked. And when they said that, the person interviewing was like, the Riddler has never been used in this way in any of Batman media. He's normally this weird dude. And he was like, yeah, that's pretty much what they were working with. But so Ben Affleck got screwed over because he at the time was dealing with his drinking problem. So he couldn't write the movie and direct the movie. And like you said, timelines. Warner Brothers wanted this movie out at a certain timeline, and they took it away from him. And that's one of the. And then after the Justice League debacle, he just walked away from everything.
So in an alternative timeline, we will be discussing the Batfleck movie.
Yes.
With the Riddler, with this reverse heist.
Do you remember in the Batman video games? There's a scene, a cinematic scene where Batman is fighting Deathstroke. If you like, check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck said he wanted to recreate that.
Oh, that would have been so lit. That would have been so lit. Because hand to hand, Deathstroke really is anti-Batman, and that fight scene would have been lit.
And seeing the way those two look.
Why are you guys mourning for something that might happen?
It might happen.
It might still.
Well,
and you know, that's the funny thing. Thanks to the Snyder Cut, it might still happen.
So what's the significance of the Snyder Cut?
I mean, first of all, let's talk about this whole thing. We've been talking for close to over 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And we haven't
so you know what? We are keeping good time with how the Snyder Cut actually worked out.
So.
Looks like you got my invitation. Just you and me. Come on!
I enjoyed it far more than I thought I would, because I mean there are several, and I'm sure there are several counterclaims people have made to watching this movie like, oh, it won't be like that, because we've already been bitten twice, several times by DC cinematic movie releases. I just realized all the time. Now we spoke about Suicide Squad for good reason. Let's just leave it there and then not acknowledge it ever again. Anyway, we've been bitten by several DC cinematic movie releases. Granted, we know Snyder does good stuff. And like, okay, we are curious to see how it is, but it is a gamble. It will be great. It could be great. It could be terrible. I mean, he's not infallible. It has happened. Then there's also the fact that it is 4 hours long. And then some people are like, that's too long for a movie. But then, like I said, I have watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, extended versions, back to back to back. And I will do it again.
Oh, the interesting thing is that all the Lord of the Rings movies together are about 12 hours.
Exactly. So I like wake up early, watch it to close of day. Well, you don't need to eat, you don't need to go to the bathroom. Like, do it once, and then next thing you know that that memorization is still set. Exclude the Hobbit. So knowing that you can do that,
shade.
Oh, it needs a shade. It needs a shade. Like, it hurts me. But although the series coming up is very interesting. So. Yeah, you watch long stuff like that. You know you can watch long stuff like that. Even think of the series you watch start one episode, you say, "Oh, I'll watch 2 episodes or one." Next thing you know, you watch 6. That is the same time period spent. So like, it's not without yet. You just make excuses like, "Oh, I don't need to." So okay, let's watch. Let's see how it goes. You watch it like, ooh, okay. It's like when you've always hated a dish and you've never given it a chance, and then you taste it just once and realize that now
I've been missing out.
this is my favorite thing in the whole world. Wow, how dare I not enjoy this?
Right.
So yeah, well worth my time to spend. And my only real issue with it is that, like, back to the 4-hour thing, is that if I want to do it again, I have to block off a significant portion of time to sit down and do it again. But then again, it's why I do it a Lord of the Rings, and it still works out fine. So yes.
So Obii, I mean, we'll get to the we all agree it was super stellar.
So I wasn't really eager to see the Snyder Cut after I saw what happened in 2017, whatever that was, right? when I heard there was a Snyder Cut coming, so there's context to this. I thought Joss had used, maybe like half the footage or 3/4 of the footage. I wasn't sure what else could happen. Right?
Yeah.
So that was the first reason. The second reason was I'm not a DC fan. So I don't look forward to the thing. It's not like, So I even lost track of like when it was. I thought they had been released already.
I mean, especially after Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Oof.
And then somebody sent me the trailer
Okay.
like this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Yo, you gotta watch." So I watched the trailer and I was like, "Oh, this is actually like dope. This is the movie that we went to see in 2017." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." Mental note: when it comes out, I'd see it at some point in time. Just when you have time. I didn't know it was going to be 4 hours. I hadn't fully known the conversation.
Oh, right.
I just thought it was dope that the fans wanted to see the thing. I thought that was great respect for the creator.
Oh, I will tell the story about it.
And I had like flashes of I like that stuff. I like when the creator knows his audience and the audience knows their creator and they have this like bond. It happened once with Quentin Tarantino's movie where it was released on like a pirating, whereby the pirate actually sent the thing back to him and said, "We are sorry." It's like he's one of those iconic people, right? So I thought it was interesting. And then I watched it. And I watched the entire thing
In one go.
And I thought to myself, this is the best thing to come out of DC ever. Man of Steel included.
Okay.
Right?
Dark Knight.
No, best back.
No. Okay, let me take that back. After Nolan,
Okay.
this is the best thing out of the DCEU to come out.
Okay.
Right?
So basically, I have to break the DC and say there's pre-Nolan and post-Nolan.
So basically, so the DCU is planning on doing the whole multiverse thing. So that's when Nolan stuff.
Marvel. Sorry.
Actually, it's very funny, but it's actually the DC that announced the multiverse first,
It
and
doesn't
then
matter.
Marvel also was
Doesn't matter.
like, you know what, we
Sorry,
can match.
We've done it. We've done it. It's been done. Like, look.
It's not a new idea for either
bro,
one. It's a
look,
question
it's
of who executes it better.
That's
And it's
pretty
Marvel
much-
that's going to execute it better.
Well, we'll see.
No,
So
we
continue.
won't see. We've seen.
Let's continue.
No, I don't see why they keep investing money into
No, you
these
see,
things.
because the Flash movie is very interesting because Michael Keaton's Batman is coming back.
Which
They're
is
It
going
was
to
a
do-
terrible Batman. It's not a Batman that was important.
but
Actually,
still
yes,
bringing.
not necessarily, I wouldn't call it a cult following, but people really love Keaton.
Bro,
They are
Batman
bringing-
is a cult character. He
Yeah,
deserves
but and then
a cult
also
following.
Batman of the future might be so Flash will probably be going through different multiverses.
Are they keeping Ezra Miller as Flash?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's good then.
Okay, yeah. So back to you.
I mean, do you want me to get into the movie?
Okay, you know what? Let me tell the
Like-
story
like
about
how-
how the Snyder Cut.
It
So
came to be in the first
yeah,
place.
so
because-
the Justice League was out.
Well,
and
no, before you start, is there a precedent for this?
the president asked him.
Recutting, they didn't reshoot, but they did recut an entire movie to bring back what it was.
They
meant to
reshot,
be.
by the way. They reshot.
They
$10 million
reshot
or
only
$70 million.
No, 70 million was to do a reshoot, which apparently was only 6 minutes of footage, and to finish up the CG.
Which sounds about right. If you
And
see
also,
it,
Zack Snyder did not receive pay. He didn't want to be paid for the
So
job.
yeah,
He was not paid. So the trade-off for him getting total creative freedom, he said he was willing to give up being paid. And he said he came back because he felt he owed it to his daughter to finish this movie. So that's why he came back. Anyway, so the story of how the Snyder Cut came to be. Justice League was out. And not too much fanfare. Whatever the opposite of fanfare is, it was that. And then, people who worked on the movie with Zack Snyder leaked a couple of footage. So the main footage I remember years ago that got leaked was Barry Allen saving Iris West. Spoilers! Charlie, by now if you haven't seen it, dear Charlie, sorry, but spoilers. Anyway, and so when we saw it, it was similar to the Wolverine movie, the X-Men Wolverine's Origins. The CG hadn't been done, not much had been, so we saw that. And then the rumor mill began that Snyder was actually almost done with this movie, and that his movie is in Warner Brothers' vault.
But he hadn't started.
He had started, he was almost done. He was 80% to finishing the movie. And then, so the rumor mill came, a few more scenes got leaked, and then scripts got leaked, like bits and snippets of scripts. And then
I remember reading some. Yeah.
So then it formed a whole coalition that
because now it's like the narrative is building.
Well,
Like,
that
look at
is
what
there.
what we thought we wanted, what we
Thought we
thought we
were
were
gonna
going
get.
to get, and what we actually got.
Yeah.
Like,
So then the fans bonded together. They had a whole petition. Millions of people signed the petition. It wasn't really doing anything.
it's a
And then
petition. You know how that goes.
Yeah, so it keep so the interesting thing about the Snyder Cut and why it was it's an interesting force is that not only were they fighting for a movie, it evolved to become an organization of sorts that crowdfunded to send money to the suicide awareness agencies because of what happened to Snyder's daughter and everything. So they were not only fighting to get their movie back, they were kind of doing some social
That's
good
very cool.
while they were at it. But for 3 years, every year during Super Bowl period, some people used to pay for a plane to fly and release the Snyder Cut banner. That's how dedicated.
Over the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like over the states and stuff like that. That's how dedicated these people are. Comic Cons and stuff like that. They used to do all that.
Dope.
The movement, they kept going and going, and then AT&T recently acquired Warner Brothers. They bought Warner Brothers, and since they bought Warner Brothers hasn't been able, and then they made HBO Max. So HBO Max is the streaming platform, and there hasn't really been any hits on that streaming platform. Let's be Wonder Woman 1984, a huge miss. Terrible miss.
Oh, you guys watched that?
I did.
Oh, I
It
saw
was
that.
an arduous task.
That was the biggest after COVID, yeah.
No, that was him, man. He watched it.
Oh,
I
you-
watched it.
I mean, I'd rather have caught COVID, which I did, than have watched that movie.
I mean, I watched every anime live action movie, so yeah. I'm used to the torture.
I don't understand how you managed to catch COVID if that's what you're putting inside your body.
I mean, anyway, so sometime apparently in 2019, AT&T kind of told Warner Brothers that, you know what, you guys should release the Snyder Cut, because it makes, from a business
Very, very
perspective, it makes sense, because
You need something.
we need a poster boy for HBO Max to get subscribers, and
No, but again, it was a complete business.
it was business. There was
And
nothing
I'm
about.
telling you that if Warner Brothers hadn't been acquired,
It would never.
Snyder Cut.
Two things had to have happened. It's very strange. Warner Brothers had to have been acquired by AT&T, because AT&T is a telecommunication network. And the interesting thing about AT&T is that if you get certain AT&T bundles, subscriptions, HBO Max comes in bundled as part of the subscription and everything. So they needed that for the whole HBO Max thing. And then secondly, COVID had to happen, because the streaming game
was
had
on.
gotten extremely hot.
No, but I don't think. You see. Well,
No,
we'll
the
chat
thing is,
about
if
that.
it was
No, I mean,
COVID,
Remember during our COVID episodes, we talked about the business of streaming.
Yes.
Okay, will you go on? You make your. I see where you're going. Make
No,
it.
but basically, so they needed a poster boy.
So there was,
They needed
there was a
something-
confluence of factors.
So
right?
basically, the Snyder Cut already has such a strong following that has, for over 3 years, been after this movie, millions of people. So it just goes to show that that's a good
Why do you know
economic.
your friends? bro?
Yeah, I mean, we have this here. It's not like it's just gathering dust. The movie has been paid for already, so it doesn't really cost us much, except $70 million, which is actually a lot.
Well,
But-
for making a movie.
But actually, $70 million for a streaming movie is actually about right.
For 6 minutes of a streaming movie.
Yeah, about an hour 45 minutes of a streaming movie, it's fine. But I mean, John Wick 1 was $70 million.
But John Wick 1 really was a shoestring budget movie.
Yeah.
And actually, it was also pretty much shoestring budget and passion project.
Yeah. So that's how Snyder Cut. They
Interesting.
called one of the executives called Snyder. Was like, "Do you want to do this?" And then he deliberated. Oh, another funny story was that apparently after the Justice League was done, because his wife was a producer and Christopher Nolan is executive producer, they had to go in for the in-house screening. And when they saw the movie, Nolan actually told Zack to never watch it. And his wife also told him that he should never watch it because he would be heartbroken. So he says it several times, he's never seen a cinematic one because of that. The advice
Interesting.
people got.
Actually, you know what? That was sage advice.
After seeing this
I
movie,
can't imagine how much it would have broken him.
it would have wrecked him.
It would have
mentally
wrecked
after
him.
seeing this one.
Guys, the movie wasn't that bad.
Put
The
the factors
Justice
in there.
League wasn't that. Look, let me
Put
tell
the
you
factors
something.
in there. oh.
It's been 3 years since you've seen the Justice League.
I actually saw it again. So I saw BVS Ultimate Edition, saw Justice League again. Then by the time I was done, the Snyder Cut was available.
Alright, so let's talk about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, so for me, there's this sense of peace and serenity that I had when I finished watching the movie. Because I had homeboys who were like, the Snyder Cut didn't exist. And I had like so many doubters about it.
Oh, no, that was you? You didn't think it existed?
Can't hear a thing.
Yes, you can hear. If I throw this, I bet you hear.
So it was like, for me, it was a vindication thing. It was like, he did it. Like, this madman, this mad genius actually did it. Because
Bad lad. He
I
actually
love
did it.
Snyder because of his visual storytelling. When it comes to shots,
Yeah,
he's one of the best.
one
out
of
there.
those. He's one of those
One
out
of the
there.
best there. And the fact that he comes from our background, he started off making ads, TV ads. So I'm like, I love this guy. I could be this guy if I actually put in a lot of time and hopefully. Hopefully.
I realize now why I'm getting a migraine. Like Winston making his own movies.
Would be-
I like Zack Snyder. Really
Really 7 hours long, man. You tell one fucking story.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, no, no.
Am I allowed to swear on the podcast?
I'm not
My bad.
slow.
The thing, it will go both ways. It will be brilliant and terrifying at the same time.
So for me, it was just.
Yeah,
serenity.
I'm still waiting for your Bankai advert. You know the one. I can't say much because
I mean, yeah, I had to tone it down a bit because we faced a couple of challenges. But
Obviously.
always, no shoot ever goes as planned. That's the norm. Anyway, so for me, there was this sense of peace and serenity because when I saw the movie, I was like, this is it. He has done it. The naysayers.
What is going on?
Selassie is looking at me.
It's
It's
like-
like,
I thought you couldn't hear. Huh? Now all of a sudden you can hear?
so,
What kind of selective hearing do you have?
No,
I say you get peace and serenity. What's your
No.
issue?
Nirvana.
Yeah,
I was so zen.
I shocked it.
No, I was actually so zen because it's like.
DC boys there.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. The night before the Snyder Cut went live,
You
I
were
was
having
extremely
palpitations. You were
anxious
nervous.
because I was like, I know my guy won't flop this, but Charlie,
what if he does?
what if he
No,
does?
but if he does, then what?
What if he was
No,
sucker
I'm
punch?
funny. Guys, like, after what we saw in 2017, what
Well,
else?
how worse could it get?
How worse?
I mean, I don't know, but I was like, I want this guy to win. I
No,
want
there's
Snyder
no-
to
look,
get this
the,
win.
The only way the movie could have been any worse, the one that was released in 2017, is that a few more people die. That's it. We leave you with a sense of hopelessness. The DCEU is destroyed. There's no way to make that movie worse.
Well, I
There's
didn't
no
know
way.
until I saw it. I didn't know. So I was, and I'm a person who's been following this news from when it was going on. So
Okay,
like
so
my
you watched
investment.
first of all, let me ask you: at what point did you watch the movie? What time of day?
Time of day. So interesting thing, I wasn't able to watch it in one sitting like that. This is what happened. So because
you didn't watch it in one sitting.
no, this is what happened. Because I saw BVS, then I saw Justice League before the sign. I was tired. I had been up
Or
since
you were
like
doing a marathon.
yeah, I was up from like
Why would you
4
do
a.m.
that?
because I just wanted
Why
content.
would you feel yourself a crap You know how to go and prepare. I don't understand it. I feel like you should detox your system rather, like watch a documentary on National Geographic or something. Just like prepare yourself spiritually for the experience. Why
So
would you fill yourself with nonsense and then go and watch the movie?
well, I just wanted context.
Well,
So
technically he did detox because, like you said, he was saying that he was filled with a few peace and zen. So it literally did detox him.
So-
A 4-hour detox. So he basically went for a massage.
Maybe
True.
if you hadn't watched the other two movies, you'd have been levitating by now.
Which is
Why-
entirely
why you
possible.
mention-
So I watched it and I was like, I finally got to see it. But I watched it about an hour and 55 minutes into the movie. That's when I think chapter 3 had ended or something like
And then you
that.
slept.
And then I didn't sleep. I wanted to sleep. I was like, I really need to get some sleep. But then I got up and I was like, you know what, let me take a shower before I sleep. When I got to the bathroom, I was like, you know what, let me scrub the bathroom before I take a shower before I sleep. So after scrubbing the bathroom and then taking a shower, I was awake all over again. I was like, you know what, let me go and finish this. So I come back and then, so it was kind of like a break, as Zach said we should take a break. But because he said,
we should take a break?
yeah, so he said
Or
in the
there were
cinema,
guidelines.
yeah, there are guidelines. He said the cinema version is going to have an intermission.
And I was going to make that point. I didn't even know you had talked about it because my whole point was going to be if you can have an intermission with Broadway shows.
Why
makes
not?
this
It's-
any
it's-
different?
Yeah, so
because
he-
it's the same
Yeah,
experience.
so
right?
he said there was going to be an intermission. In the
And I
cinema.
think that the whole viewership, the whole viewing behavior is going to change, right? In terms of like what comes out in the cinemas and you know this new normal nonsense we're talking about. Because I feel like a lot of things are going to change. I mean, if you go and watch a Broadway play, which typically will run your 2 to 3 hour gamut, right?
Mhm.
Why can't you have an intermission? Like there's nothing.
I mean, Hindi
Yeah,
movies
what's-
also have intermissions when they are cinema released.
Really?
Yes.
So let's learn from other cultures. Like it doesn't make any sense to like. So this is actually going to come out in the cinemas.
Yes, he's put together an IMAX version. I mean, it's shot in the IMAX format. That's why it has the black bars on the sides,
Very
which many
interesting.
people had a problem with.
Did they shoot a
Yeah.
3D version of this?
No.
Oh,
3D
God.
is pretty much dead, isn't it?
I don't think so. It's dead here.
It's
No,
dead out
it's dead
there
in
too.
general.
No, it's
No,
not-
just
it's not,
shooting
guys.
it.
It's
Shooting
not,
it
guys.
alone is a problem. Come
Yeah,
on,
but
you
it doesn't matter.
your cameras are bad enough. You have to get one with ice.
Doesn't matter. After the Irishman, anything is possible. Anyway, please continue with your epiphany.
Yeah, so it was. I just felt great, and I'm happy. I've seen it 2.5 times so far. I need to.
2.5.
Yeah.
So you will spend
So
another
about
2
10
hours.
hours.
I'll spend another 2 hours. So
The
it's time
only,
we finish
you know,
this.
the only reason I haven't seen it like every single day since it came out. is
You have other
funny,
things to
yeah,
do.
funny thing, I got busy during this weekend.
Ah,
setting
but
up a
how,
shoot.
how did you watch this movie multiple? Anyway, everybody.
How did I? Oh, I
No,
was,
you probably cost into your nap time as well.
yeah. So I tend to watch quite a lot of things, actively and passively. So the
Okay.
second time was a passive watch.
This
the
movie
third
for
time.
this movie for a while is going to be a lot of active watching. You can't possibly watch it.
So that's why I'm watching it several times. So
You're watching it for what? What are you watching? Thinking?
well, I have HBO Max. What else should I use it for?
Oh, you have HBO Max.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
I mean, we all have HBO Max, don't we?
I forgot that I have HBO Max.
Anyway, so one of the things I don't think we should get into the technicalities of this movie. I don't think we should talk about we've praised the movie enough, and
We
we don't have
actually
much
talking about
time.
the movie. You know that.
You know, yeah, there's a lot of context and everything.
Oh, there's so
So
much to talk about. Or should
You
we
want to
make
keep
it?
this-
Should we make it easier? And no, that's not. I was going to say, should we make it easier and not talk about the things we didn't like about the movie?
yeah, I think we should just jump into that because we all agree that the
The
movie.
things you
was-
didn't like about the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know there's something that's been sitting on your heart.
What did
Very,
you?
very
Okay, Obii,
early on in the movie.
what did you like about the movie? Obii?
I loved it. Like, no, I'll let you guys talk first,
Okay.
and then I will probably say a couple.
So,
of words.
for me-
because I'm not a DC fan, you know that.
Okay.
So yeah, so you guys.
So personally, as a huge fan and everything, the things I disliked about this movie is one, the slow-mos were excessive. There were certain scenes that didn't need slow-mo. Case in point, when Wonder Woman flew into the sky and chucked the suitcase into the sky, we didn't need that much slow-mo.
We didn't need so much.
We didn't need
It actually
that
would have
much.
kept pace. It would actually have helped keep pace with the frenetic action that the scene was supposed to have.
Because that hair looking at it slowly going up, all of that stuff, for me personally, it was unnecessary. Now, if I remember correctly, I think there was one thing that one thing that I feel like should have been swapped was with Aquaman. Now, in the Justice League, when he goes like dressed like a bat, he's in the water and it's like, you are mad, Bruce Wayne, and he does that fake back jump into the water, weird shot in the Justice League. I think that's when it transitions to him going to
Atlantis.
I feel like that was a better transition to the moving to Atlantis than the whole
standing at
bro.
Jamestown and Sean now.
That was
shit.
God. That was the best body splash I have ever seen. Jason Momoa walking slowly. I could just hear the voice, and then that coolness that hits you. Then he takes the shirt off. Do all that scene. I feel like
whenever I said it makes you one with the
water. I feel like that scene, starting from the beginning, where the dude was in the ship.
We should make an ad together, guys. You guys know.
I feel like the scene where the dude got saved in the water should have been an establishing shot of why Arthur was there. I mean, he was already bringing them food and stuff. He's been doing that, but it makes more sense that he saved this guy, brought the guy there, and stayed there. And that's when Bruce Wayne showed up. I feel like that swap would have been better. Please, I beg. But that's how I feel. So those are the few things that, however, talking to some of my friends, some of them say an issue they had in the Justice League was still not addressed, which was, did they really need the Justice League team when they? So he's Cenobiter. Yes, he's one of the people who shares this. He's not the only one. They were like, so the team's job was to bring Superman back because the whole team couldn't fight Steppenwolf.
But they needed a team though, right? Because you needed Cyborg for his abilities.
Yeah.
You needed the Flash to jump.
You needed Flash's ability.
The box.
The box.
Credit to them. Actually, credit to them. The more I think about it.
The plot.
Yeah, Wonder Woman is an informant.
Right. You needed.
Speaking of Wonder Woman, one of my favorite shots I showed Michael was when Diana jumps into the tomb. It looked like a 2D scroller game, those video games.
Just
when she jumps into, it's like Duke Nukem back in the day when he jumps in and then you start.
It really did look like, where's my control? I should be playing this by now.
It really looked good. Yeah, please continue.
Credit to her high heels as well.
Yeah.
No, I just like they were needed. Like it was an essential component because each of them brought something to the table, that resulted in that was necessary to get Superman. Like imagine. Maybe Aquaman.
No, so that's Sene's point.
But
that if Superman was there, even the mother boxes wouldn't have woken up because that's
the whole premise.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I told.
And even having the team there, even carry on to keep fighting after Superman was resurrected didn't make sense because now you have Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman being the muscle. Then you have a plan involving the Cyborg and the Flash on what to do with the mother boxes, and they had actually, arguably even Batman did pull his weight a bit as muscle.
Batman was vindicated in this movie.
He was vindicated.
In this movie, I
have to give credit to Nana Ajay on Twitter, who is frankly underrated how little retweets and likes he's getting for his tweet, because the Ghost Superhero versus Gotham's Taekwondo Kwame Despite tweets, that is very apt. And up to that point of the movie, it's accurate. But then afterwards, Batman comes in and we're clutch. Like, this is why I am on this team. This is why it is me and not Taekwondo Kwame Despite here.
But on a tangent, Alfred, wherever you are, I would like to see your CV, because there's no Lucius Fox in that world, it seems, because Alfred is the one doing everything. And he is crazy at everything. Like, and when that scene was funny though, when Diana was like, "Oh, you made it," it's like, why don't you make it last and make it black? That was funny. So we'll have to pause here because the camera is almost out of power. What do you guys want to talk about? Because to be honest, I don't.
Sometimes I wonder if it. Sometimes I think back to the things that could have been cut or re-edited. Didn't need to be fully. I still feel it could have cut out 30 minutes from the movie and made it 3 hours.
I honestly don't think it. I think max could be even 10 minutes.
Okay, the 3 hours, but you take out some of the slow-mo shots, unnecessary slow-mo shots. I mean, we know what Snyder's like.
Guys, listen. If the movie is 3 hours 35 minutes, if the movie is 4 hours 6 minutes, makes not a lot of difference. Here's why. There's not a lot of stuff you could have done to change what we saw with the Snyder Cut, right? Yes, you could take out some of the, like you're saying, slow-mo shots. Yep. He hugged his mother-in-law for too long. Yep.
I know there's a cut that you'd have loved taken straight out.
Wonder Woman spending time with the little girls to reassure them.
She barely spent time with
Can you
them.
be a princess? We don't have time for this. Like, clearly, you are wasting everybody's time. We are sitting here talking to the first of all, the girl no one stand up. Why the girl not stand up? Why are we waiting for this little?
Yeah, but she called her princess, so
by
I was
her
under the
feet.
impression that she was
That
like
she
a princess
was-
or
No,
something.
babe,
No,
what
she was
did-
a princess. She was a tiny little girl who seemed to be scared. That was unnecessary. That was not needed. There are a lot of things that were needed. They spent a lot of time establishing the Amazonians being afraid of the box and reaching for the box before it cracked. And there was stuff you could snip. You couldn't cut. You could snip.
Okay.
Which is basically like moving frames.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, to speed it up.
Yeah.
And so if you put all that together, maybe you'd have gone 20 minutes back. But what are we doing in 20 minutes?
I honestly think it would have been only 10 to 15 minutes.
So I agree. So I'll take it 5 minutes more and say 20. But you know,
But broadly speaking,
The-
fair enough.
the-
The details
the-
don't matter.
the rationale behind this movie, it becomes clearer that I feel like of all the characters, first of all, we got a lot more story.
Yes.
Cyborg, like, you know, there's a ton more respect put on Cyborg's name.
And I see why Ray Fisher was fighting for this movie
Yes.
to come out.
Yes, is it because the first one did not make any sense? Like, from when, you know, she met him in the streets, that very weird shot, he doesn't get any lines.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally weird. So you see there's a lot of character development that happens, right? So Cyborg, Ezra Miller, I didn't really like him in the last movie. In this movie, I fell in love with him, right? Because you see that he's actually he's hauling effort, right?
Yes, and his Flash has some of the most beautiful shots.
Yes. You know, and
Yes.
they managed to nail this speed thing.
The speed
fantastic.
force,
You know,
yeah.
we got a glimpse of it in 2017
Yes.
where Superman
Was
does the
looking at-
side eye,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But here we got so much more.
More, yeah.
When I remember Superman stopped him and pushed him into, like, swerved him and pushed him into Aquaman, and just both went in.
Yeah, and then at the end, Aquaman was. That was funny.
He was, I'm so sorry.
That was better than, yeah, something is bleeding.
No, definitely. Like, and these are the little things, right? So, where could we have cut? Lois was spending too much time at the statue.
Buying
Like,
coffee?
no, honestly, like, it was unnecessary, right?
Oh, Zack Snyder's actually in that shot when she goes to the coffee shop. He's in the coffee shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see. And then there's this really
So does that
weird-
make that scene any better? That shouldn't. It shouldn't.
that
be
he's in the
he's
shot?
Yeah.
Maybe. So that's his ode to himself. or
Yeah,
whatever,
you know the way
what I
Quentin
mean?
Tarantino.
And or the way Stan Lee would
Stan
do
Lee
it,
shows up, yeah.
right? So there's that. Things that didn't mix. Oh, and then there's Steppenwolf. My goodness.
His eyes,
Yo,
man. His
I mean,
eyes.
look,
Steppenwolf with
like,
the anime
I
eyes.
actually had to ask
Who's the bad guy?
who's the bad guy.
Who's the Superman? Was
I
such
don't
a bully,
recognize
though.
that guy.
When Superman came in, not impressed, and he was pummeling. I was like, bro,
Relax.
bro,
Eh?
this guy just wants to go home.
I mean, there were so many pivotal parts. Like, when I first saw, like, when Steppenwolf appears in the Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was like, wait, it's supposed to be Darkseid, because he looks like he looks like a mechanical weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way they had the skill switching and
Switching, yeah.
oh, it was so cool. Like, how did you guys not do that?
He just did the other one.
You know what I mean? So those were points where I sat up in my chair. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Something's happening.
So it hooked me in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the last thing that got me was when Clark walks out. I see the black suit. Like, oh,
The black suit was. Here's my thing. Honestly, I dislike the fact that when they went into the Kryptonian ship, a blue suit showed up, because it means that the blue suit was there and he chose to not wear it. I would have preferred if the blue suit was damaged because he had been run through by.
But hasn't the Kryptonian ship
fabricated? Yeah, but he's dead. Why do I need to make something for someone who's dead?
I think those are spares. I don't think.
Okay, but I feel like I personally would have preferred if that suit never showed up, because the black one is what his Jor-El was wearing during his meetings in Krypton in Man of Steel.
But I think that's why I think the purple showed it there, especially when he walked away from it. Like, okay, you see the blue suit the first time, I'm thinking, ooh, could this be it? Then he walks past it the second time, and I'm like, yeah, we are not doing this.
But don't forget, the whole time Jor-El is speaking.
No, not only Jor-El, Jonathan Kent. So the final convergence of everything both fathers had been teaching him was dope.
So I feel that was like the symbolism of him like walking past the blue, because you see the blue suit go back into a pot.
Yeah,
right. I'm just like, goodbye to this life, right? So then he just begins.
So you're rebranding.
But bro, the fact that. Do you remember that whether an Albanian family or
though?
You guys remember?
That whole thing. Like, why is there a trope of
I remember teasing my DC boys.
Yeah.
In 17 about the fact that the whole movie, the whole apartment complex, be this one family paid this thing.
See there. Do you know what makes it worse? The fact that they cut out the woman who was working multiple jobs, had family, and that cyborg did the Gotham. They cut out that part, and I'm not saying they replaced it, but for me, they replaced that with that Albanian family. For me, I was like, why?
It's a really bad decision. It's just one of those things they shot. That was terrible.
It was absurd. And another thing about that scene is that scene really devalued the Flash. Because you remember the Flash was pushing the car, and then Superman just swings past with a house full of people screaming. Why are we doing this? But in this one, Flash got to show his shot.
You know that scene where Superman and Flash were like, who's faster, right? That's when Marvel boys were like, oh guys, you were so close. You were so close. But you are now very, very far.
Well,
like, you will never be a Marvel. Like, there's no way we would have done all that stuff, right?
And I think they should accept that.
So I think that, look, the guy Zack has vindicated DC, honestly. Like,
yes,
this was him making a statement, and if he doesn't come back, I'll be surprised, because he'll just be like, you know what?
So a friend of mine was also talking about this. He was everybody online is discussing. So now a new hashtag is restore the Snyderverse. It's already started, and there was this tweet or post that came comments that was like, fans release this restore the Snyderverse. Warner Brothers ignores or something like that. Then fans, we will go back to the old ways, attributing to what Darkseid said. If they don't release it, we'll go back to the old ways. Now, when he said it, I was like, I'm not sure about it. I was like, why? And then I gave him this quote: you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. That is in Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. And that could happen to Snyder, in the sense that we have put him on a pedestal, we've had him come back.
Yes,
he's made this epic thing.
But it's always been a possibility.
It's always
the thing. And then you know the funny thing?
What?
I think Snyder is your Feige.
Interesting enough, I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because all the DC movies that have been successful, he's been executive producer of them. First Wonder Woman movie, Aquaman, he was executive producer.
I think Snyder is your Feige. So if you guys are serious about the front, I said it to Marvel, Charlie. But if you're serious about going, you can't go toe to toe now. But if you're serious about going like head to balls, you will need to put him on, like in some capacity, and give him like
the respect.
Honestly,
yeah.
Because otherwise, dude, you can't go back from this. Like, your next release
has to be good.
Yo, listen. Like,
the next release, I think, is Suicide Squad.
And it's funny because this is very funny because I was actually in a meeting, right, with my friends. One of the coolest things I've seen. on Friday, and the meeting was running pretty late, right? And his wife called, and he was like, "Yo, don't go to bed because tonight, Snyder Cut, you know." And so I'm thinking, look, when I spoke to them the day after, they were like, "Yo, it was actually like bonding experience for the two of them, right?" Hitherto, their bonding experience had been was that abominable mistake. Game of Thrones.
Oh, season 8.
Season 8, right? What you're on the verge of, right, is a Game of Thrones. What you have done is a Game of Thrones season 7. You've left it there. Season finale. Yeah. Game of Thrones.
Everybody's hyped.
Everybody's hyped.
Yeah.
If you people
do a season
make
8
a mistake and do a season 8, like forget your universe. Like you just have to go back to the animated movies and the comics.
Yeah.
Forget the cinema experience completely because we're not coming back. We don't have time to wait 3 years to watch a remix.
True.
Nobody has that time. In that space, we could have gotten one Fast and Furious movie and one James Bond. Like we are not waiting for you.
Oh, we're still waiting for those movies.
Bro.
Is it Paramount? Yeah, I think it's Paramount.
You see what I'm saying? And the dynamics are changing so quickly, right?
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't need. We don't need a blockbuster from DC because Netflix will give us something.
Oh yeah, every Friday. Every Friday.
Like, you understand? So you have to. Right now, you have to hold your fan base, right? Because what you guys don't understand is what Marvel has done. Marvel, we've actually done an iteration where now I'm introducing. Remember, I used to go. Funny story. I went for the first or the second Iron Man with my cousin, and at the time he was like waist height, right?
Yeah.
And I took him to the movie, and we watched it together. This dude is now taller than me.
Okay.
He lives in Canada. Like he's a grown man. That's how long the universe has expanded,
yeah.
right? And you've built that following over so much time. You guys, this thing is the thing that's going to win you back because now you got the HBO Max audience. Yeah. So that whole people of the uninitiated are going to probably be, and this is a good way to initiate them. This is actually a very good movie to use. You guys have to, okay, not you guys, but hopefully AT&T, not Warner Brothers,
yes,
has to make a decision and say, listen, how do we keep this going, right? And this is something that Marvel has quickly understood, right? Because Marvel knows, Charlie, look, Infinity, you remember, what was the one that came before Infinity War? Infinity War, then Endgame, right?
Yes.
Do you remember when Infinity War ended? Everybody was like, what the hell just happened?
Yes.
Because we would have sat there for 5 hours.
Yeah, we would
People
have continued.
were looking at that watching like,
where's the rest?
People were like, 2 hours passed, but we don't catch anyway.
Yeah.
So people in the cinema, people are beginning to like, okay, how long did this movie was?
Yes.
What's going to and then the
people, I'm sure people started organizing their days around that.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If they had to split that movie because again they did not think that the cinema or the cinema audience was
ready for a long
but
format.
now we know if you make us happy, we will gladly come and camp out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you guys have been presented with a new beginning. A lot of things happen after COVID. Yes. There's a new set of streaming behaviors. There's a new set of viewing behaviors. Like all of that stuff is now set.
Yeah.
Marvel has gone ahead of you, unfortunately or fortunately. I don't even think. Well, yes, we have, but this is your redemption.
Yes.
I don't know what's coming next. Whether there's a Suicide
Squad. James Gunn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but you need to have a creative director.
True.
Sit on the account and say, listen, this is what we need to do, right? Because it needs to be a continuous experiment in excellence, and this has to be your base. This has to be your base case.
You know what you're saying, I really agree, because when I watched the movie, I was like, I honestly feel Warner Brothers should have given this movie at least the opportunity to fail, because I felt like this movie had done enough setup that even if it failed, we can move forward from here. We know who this guy is, we know who this dude is, we know what his everything is. If they had given it that chance, they could have, in 2017, they could have, after the fact, made better movies that could have salvaged everything. But now they just
that analogy. It comes back to the analogy that they didn't want to put in the extra work, or they didn't want to put in the time to let the extra work pay off. They wanted it at once, not forgetting that it takes time. You literally can't throw money at this problem.
It's not a microwavable snack.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a whole oven cooked meal. Like this is like a, and I think it's also show like a maturity in like where these guys are going with their craft, right? With their creativity, because I'm giving you a story that's going to keep you glued. The beautiful thing about the Snyder Cut was it kept you glued to your seat.
Yes.
The reason why you felt, let me go back and finish it, is because it was so good. There were anchors everywhere, right? There was no point where you paused the movie, where you didn't want to come back immediately and see what happens next. There was always like, okay, what then, and then what, and then what, right? And then obviously they did things like the Aquaman bubbles, and when they are speaking, the dialogue bubbles. Excellent stuff, because how will they communicate underwater? It doesn't make any sense.
For me, honestly, people have a problem with that, and I feel the answer I normally give to people about that is that at the time where this movie was made, they hadn't figured out how they were going to make the people of Atlantis. It was James Wan who figured it out, and we have to remember that Aquaman came after 2017.
True.
This movie wasn't shot in 2020. It was shot in 2016.
True.
So
that creates a great premise for what came in after.
Yeah.
See, this is like your rebirth moment.
It is.
Right? I don't know what else Warner Brothers is making.
The Warner Brothers is making. So there's another Batman movie, Matt Reeves.
With Affleck.
No, not with Affleck. With Robert Pattinson. There's a Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Then there's a Flash movie that hasn't started production yet. But that Flash movie was supposed to be a movie with Flash and Cyborg, but because of Ray Fisher's issues with arguments with Warner Brothers, he's been cut out of the movie. But right now, with people having seen the Snyder Cut and seen how fantastic he was as Cyborg.
No, he was brilliant, man. I feel like some decisions have to be made that cannot be.
I think some pride has to be put aside. Certain things have to be checked.
And I think it's a paradigm shift, right? Because now the studio, look, listen, this thing is happening everywhere, right? We've seen it with Dave Chappelle and this whole Comedy Central. Give me back my, and that one, his name was actually on the thing. Like they had essentially bought his name. And he was like, pay my money. And they were like, no, you signed the contract. But it's like, screw this. The contract, if I had known what I was signing, if I had known this longevity would have existed. Look at how long ago the Chappelle show was.
You know what's interesting about these contracts? Not only do they mention about how long, they mention in the space, in the sense that to the entire universe. So basically, if aliens show up, and they're like, we want to buy this TV show,
like,
you still not go get
and these are the reasons why we have all these regional restrictions with canceling these contents, Africa and stuff like that.
Oh, interesting stuff. DSTV actually bought rights to show the Snyder Cuts at the same time where HBO Max was releasing.
Yeah, DSTV, they are stepping up their game now.
Yeah,
they're doing.
So 7 a.m. same time that HBO Max released it, DSTV released it.
And they're doing, and we have to talk about that as well as a separate episode, right? Because where's the future of this stuff going? But check this out, right? It's also creating a paradigm shift on the business side of things, because people are going to finally see that. I mean, indie movie creators have been showing us that for a while, but because they don't have the marketing budgets, we're only hearing about good indie films like when they win like a Sundance, and because a lot of them are dramas, they don't have the epic, enormosity of these summer blockbusters. We don't really get to see them, right? Unless you're a drama freak or whatever. But there's going to be a paradigm shift where the content creator, I don't want to use that because I hate that phrase, but the creators, right, are going to take power, because the creators have a connection with their audience.
Yes.
Right? Which is why people were like, Iron Man can't die. And he was like, no, we have to because left to us, the way people have gone to bring back a Superman, it will resurrect Iron Man in the next movie.
True.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's an on-screen character death that resulted in actual tears in the cinema. You know what I mean?
The interesting thing is that I feel like that's one of the reasons why Netflix is very successful. Because when Netflix gets the directors, they get to do whatever they want. They go ham.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Because right now I'm really looking forward to seeing Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. He's done a new one for Netflix. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But we've seen what happens when you give Michael Bay too much
No,
freedom.
you see,
Six on the ground.
and that's the thing too. You see, you have to know your director.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Temper. Oh, funny thing, Michael Bay also started in commercials.
I mean,
Yeah.
So you can tell, you know, there's
Michael Bay, Ridley Scott, like all these guys.
You can tell there's some similarity in the people.
There's an aesthetic.
Yeah, there's a way
and these guys are actually very. You see, and that very good point. Because these guys are more forceful than the
Traditional
directors.
filmmakers.
It's like, this is my work, and that's one of the, look, I've been on a set once where the director has refused to allow anybody else to cut his footage. So he took his footage and fucked off.
Interesting.
As in, got on a plane and said, "Screw you, I'm taking my." and the client has paid for the ad. The guy said, "Screw you, I'm taking my ad. We will not do this cut."
Wow.
Do you understand? And it's intense stuff, and this is just like a scaled up version
Of it, yeah.
of it, right? So look, for me, my whole thing was, it was a victory for the creator.
Yes, because right now it's shown production houses that you should have some level of trust.
You should have some level of trust. You can't sit down and apply a specific formula or design by committee to certain, especially creative work. You can't.
So I think we should just dive into a few technical stuff, cinematography and all that stuff. How are you guys feeling? Because that movie was made up of, for me, excellent shots.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I made a joke when the trailer came out that I might probably have to watch with the torchlight, but that was egg on my face. And it didn't come to pass. It looked beautiful. I mean, Snyder has his way with coloring, which I'm not always on board with, but it worked fine for the movie, and I am not mad at it.
For me, the coloring and that you talked about, the color correction, really, really, really brought out the blues of the Speed Force that was used for.
Yes, it did. But
Barry.
it sacrificed vibrancy in general. But it still fits in with the tone of the movie, so I'm not mad at it.
Oh, question. Are you guys okay with the Flash's Ezra Miller's running?
Do we have a choice?
Which is a fair question. I've given up on complaining about it.
Actually, I liked it.
It
grew on me.
It does grow on you, especially towards the end.
When he finally breaks the time barrier.
Yep. He makes it work. I am not mad at it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's good.
And honestly, I really want Zack Snyder to be an executive producer for whatever Flash movie.
I want to look. He should be the DCEU's Kevin Feige.
Yeah, like Obii said.
You know what? And maybe this even let Warner Brothers to listen back to Nolan again.
Yeah.
Like, you see, he knew what he was talking about. Imagine a Nolan Snyder.
Yeah, I think Nolan for the story. The Nolans, the two brothers.
Yes.
Chris and Christopher and his brother.
For the story.
For storytelling and then visuals.
Visuals Snyder.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be a great team.
Now that. And then granted, you don't want creators to get completely out of control.
Because like what happened in Wonder Woman 1984 where Patty Jenkins was given all control over the movie and it was, oh my god. You know,
you watch it and you wonder, is this the same team that brought us the first Wonder Woman?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
So I didn't look.
That's why I didn't watch it.
Because she actually, Patty Jenkins made a mistake where when the movie came out fresh, a few critics had seen it and they were saying that it was great, blah 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 blah. And she did a full-fledged interview before we the viewers had seen it, and she pretty much spilled everything when she talked about this movie is all her. She believes in the movie, and then she talks about how she had to fight Zack and I think Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers because she didn't even want to put the fight at the end of the movie in the previous one. There's so many things she didn't want to do.
That's that equality.
All that stuff. And the interesting thing is that most of the things she was saying that she didn't want to do were things that made the movie great in my.
Yeah, that'd be why you pack your ego for your pocket is.
Yeah. So
you understand? You see this. When I start talking about this, you guys you look at me funny, right? But this is exactly like, even the first Wonder Woman, when it came out, even the team that was sitting on it, right, sort of came out as a feminist anthem movie, right,
Yes.
which we're seeing a lot of, right. This woman jumps on it and creates a disaster, right, and that's a movie that I feel like Warner Brothers should have stepped in and said, no, we're not releasing this. That they have more justification to say that about 84.
They had absolute faith in the movie. They had absolute faith in her because
just
she made them $1 billion.
It just shows it made them $1 billion because it's a chick flick, it's an empowerment flick.
But actually, the interesting thing is that I don't think she made them the $1 billion. It was the whole team, including Zack, because Zack was the executive producer of the first Wonder Woman movie, and he was a consultant for the movie. Because I've come to realize that if it's beginning to feel like Zack is the only person who is able to tell the story of the characters he has made properly.
Because that's just the law of energy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no, honestly, like the thing is, his energy courses through his creations, right? In the most personal manner. It's very we got the first glimpse of it in Man of Steel, and probably had been used to it by the time Batman vs Superman came out, right? But his energy courses through his. There's this video on the internet where Peter Jackson is hugging this guy, Lord of the Rings. What's the guy's name?
Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
When they wrap on the last scene of the shoot, right, and he goes to hug him, and he's thanking him for bringing his vision to life, right, and he bursts out crying, like Peter Jackson bursts out crying. That's the kind of emotional connection that real creators have with their work. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can give you the script, I can give you the screenplay, I can give you everything. You will not be able to bring the thing that I have created to life better than I will. Do you know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things, which is why I can understand Ben just being slightly, anal about, okay, let me just put this together, because it wasn't his work, and as a real creator, he understands. Like, Charlie, this is not me, so I can only do my thing. And I'm sure he was probably saying to fans, look, don't judge me by this work, because this is not me.
It was very interesting how he hasn't said a single thing.
Exactly.
A single thing.
Because it's one of those things, right? It's almost like I'm looking for a sense of context, right? But it's almost like you can't touch. It's okay. It's like your local baker, right? They've baked bread for you. You know what their bread is. It's like your mom's cooking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you love your wife to death, but she will never be able to replicate food the way your mom makes it.
You can bring her back to the local baker thing, because imagine someone else trying to make matuna bread.
Matuna bread, for example. Right? There's no way you can.
Actually, even they can't do their own batuna bread side project, because you buy batuna bread from them. It's batuna bread, you know it. But then you try and buy sugar bread from the same people.
Batuna bread will be coming to you for sponsorship money, right? Because
no, you don't give us money.
the bread is good.
Just
give us bread.
Yes,
honestly,
give us
to
bread.
be honest.
You know, it's very interesting. I never for the life of me thought I'll be doing a review and then batching that bread.
Let me tell you.
Seamlessly, mind
there was
you.
a day I was leaving the country, and in my suitcase, right, on top of my clothes were 4 loaves of batuna bread. This is before like all the terrorists. No, it's like 2000. So it's right. And when I got to the friends, the customs, and I opened my suitcase. And the woman was like, what? And I said, no, it's bread. She's like, I know, people come here with it. I'm like, what? So they didn't even normally they try and figure out what's in the bread. They had done it so much that they had tasted the bread there already. It's that, right? That's how good the bread is. But this is my point, right? That baker, you cannot replicate the substance. It's muscle memory, essentially.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you have inclinations about the character that feel right to you or that don't.
Yeah, it's pretty much what has happened with the Snyder Cut that many people are talking about. How two different directors with the same footage and
two completely different movies.
I cook. It's like cooking, where you get the
same ingredients,
same recipe. It's
but
not
we'll
going
make
to be
different
the same
stuff.
thing.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, and you look, listen, even you understand for the first time, maybe, at least for me, you understand Steppenwolf's motives.
Yes.
For the first time. Just what I'm saying. Which is why that scene where Wonder Woman takes his horn.
Yeah. No, Superman.
No. The first one is Wonder Woman. The second one is Superman. Where he breaks it and then they kick the guy into the portal. Bro, listen. You sort of feel sad for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know that all he's trying to do
Let's go home.
Right? And to have Darkseid crush his skull.
When he's hell, yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
you've taken everything from this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's those little things. You understand Cyborg's motivation. You never knew what his motivation was. Just like an angry robot.
Angry teenager.
You know what I mean? But essentially, Cyborg is, you guys, your Iron Man. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's who you're trying to create. Look at the tech. You get a full appreciation of, because the last time he just went and held the mother box and then and you're like, but the way he says it wants to fly.
You know that's
you talk to tech, which is not what he does. You talk to tech and then he responds, I speak to intelligence. Listen, then you are writing like Marvel. You know what I mean? Then you are actually giving us a reason to be invested in this character, right? We see we see his dad, Dr. Stone, die, right? And then we understand why he sacrificed himself. He's actually helping his son be the hero that his son needs to be, because he knows his son will figure it out.
Father twice over.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's all of these things. And this is stuff that when you're sitting behind the camera, it sort of feels is instinctive. It's not scripted. It's instinctive things. It's instinctive behavior. It's why this shot should be in this way.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, do you understand? It's a passion thing. That's why these movies don't come out every year.
Yeah.
These are actual passion projects, right? So I really feel some sense of vindication for him, right? Because he's like, I told you, and I don't even want money. Keep your money.
Yeah. I did it.
I've done what I wanted to do. I've shown the world who I am. Now, what shall I become for him? You think you think Disney is sitting down saying, okay. No! Do you understand something?
Yeah.
Like, and this is...
I feel like every creative is feeling that vindication.
You know what I'm
spirit. Every time you've given a proper pitch to budget everything they've asked for, and then you look at it like, no.
David Ayer must be quaking in his boots right now.
Who's that?
He's the one who did Suicide Squad. And he's also said that wasn't the movie he made.
Look, you guys should just release all the cuts. Let's see what you actually created.
Yeah.
Like, you have AT&T on your side. It's no longer a Warner Brothers decision.
Yeah.
Let's see what AT&T created. Let's see what the director actually created, because we can't be getting a lot of crap.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is
Just for
already
commercial value.
It's been paid for already.
You know, it's weird.
So there you go. Suicide Squad, Aya cuts for coming to HBO Max.
HBO Max should just make a thing of releasing the director's cuts.
Yes.
Make it the channel of director's cuts, to the point where even
After you see
other things,
new things coming.
for other directors have a chance to go and say, this was my stuff. That could be their selling point.
You know, it would be very interesting if Warner Brothers actually, like you said, made a business of it, where they are like, okay, you made this movie the way you wanted to.
But this
then
business
is the
consultancy,
movie. Yeah.
what was today's date? 21st
You want
of
to charge
March
them,
2021. What do you call it? DM us, will send you our bank.
We just
account
want
details.
1% of your box
Box
One.
office.
office.
One.
That only one. It's not.
But
it's
yeah,
not.
I mean, I can see that happening where a director puts his vision down, he makes the vision. I mean, it might cost a little more, and then the studio is like, you know what, for commercial reasons and everything, tweak it to look like this. But we'll put your vision on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
We don't mind. You
Put
do
it
it
up.
the way you
Yeah.
want to do it. Do it.
Honestly,
It's on streaming.
because it's so important, right? And then the other people who don't get credit behind the scenes are the editors,
Yeah.
right?
And this particular time was very interesting because Zack actually got some of the fans to join the editing.
Now this you see, this is why this guy is a superstar. This is somebody who knows his audience, right? Because bro, when was this in the cinema in 2017? We were editing the movie. We're like, this doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
What was that scene about? Like the thing was very impossible. Like
What happened?
what, do you understand? It's this whole. I really think it's this whole new wave of like, you know, interaction. You know how we had the phase where, you know, viewing habits change, where people are on their phones and interacting on Twitter and stuff like that. I think we're going into like a phase 2 of that, where it's like, okay, there's fan involvement actually creating the things, right?
I mean, we've seen 2 times where fan involvement has been epic. First one was Sonic, rightfully so, rightfully so, and then now the biggest one.
Did anybody watch the Sonic movie though?
I did.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was.
Gosh.
Right, George. Jim Carrey is the
Oh,
godfather.
on a tangent, Ace Ventura 3 has been greenlit.
Oh yes.
I mean, after that,
Perfect.
it would be.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
yeah, Sonic was great, surprisingly so. Like, it's now part of the very tiny list of video game movies
That are
that's
actually
like-
good. But I'm
that-
looking forward. What?
What are you gonna say?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, bro. Mortal Kombat, Chalet. I saw the trailer. I was like, what?
Mad. I am. So it's a Warner Brothers thing, and yeah.
I don't know about that.
But Kong and Godzilla is also coming out soon.
What? Didn't that movie already happen?
No.
What was the other one?
There was Kong and there was
There's
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
and it
Two
was the
Godzilla.
one where they go on an island and then some guy.
That was
was
Kong.
on
That was
the
Skull
Kong.
Island.
Skull Island.
But he was fighting something.
It wasn't
Some
Kong.
creatures,
It wasn't. It wasn't
wasn't
Zilla.
Oh, in my head, that movie has already happened. Right?
Okay.
What's going to be different?
Kong fights Godzilla.
Kong fights Godzilla.
For
They
who's
made
the
a
alpha male.
Yeah, they made a whole thing about them fighting on an aircraft carrier as fight 1. Like, let's go.
And apparently they've been fighting for generations or something. It's been
Yeah,
on
it'd
the
be like
side and
Godzilla had been taking out their parents
Kong's
Kong's
people.
species
I see.
because he is supposed to be the apex predator of sorts or whatever. But yeah,
I mean, very broadly, it's always been lizards versus monkeys. So, hey, look, more monster movie. I'm here for it.
Interesting. No, but you know, like, go crazy, guys. We are 3 hours is fine. 4 hours is even better. Like, we're good. If you can make sure that you keep us on our seats, we're not bored.
you can stay for as long as you want. Because I mean, we realized how viewership habits changed when Netflix brought up binging. Netflix pretty much encouraged that habit. I, for one, initially, so this is a conversation Selassie and I had, where there's this particular anime, Iron Blooded Orphans,
Yeah.
Mobile Suit Gundam.
Ah, yes, that.
He, Selassie, started watching it week by week, and he would always just come like, this is
Because
epic, blah,
it
blah,
gives
blah.
you
And I was like,
you
it
had
gives
the
you
time to
time.
sit down
Yeah.
and soak all the major events that took part.
I watched it and I was like, so I finally got up to him. I was like, it's not as epic as you're making it seem. But thankfully, we had a second season to go, and then during the second season, I had to watch it week by week. And bro,
And then you felt
I felt why
Yeah.
the epicness and
Yeah.
why everything. But then I realized that okay, there are also some shows that can be made for binging in the sense that when this episode ends, the next episode immediately picks up from where that
See,
ended.
and let me tell you why I think that's the future, right? Because I feel like for stories that need to be told, but they don't necessarily have the backing of
for these
the-
huge
the-
media
no,
machines.
not necessarily, but no. Let me start again. There are stories that need to be told, right? That do not necessarily need to be released within the blockbuster time frame, right? But there are stories that are crucial, especially if you are doing a multiverse, to character development, right? For example, 1984. 1984 could have been better if it was produced as a 3-part miniseries, for example, right? And that's what Marvel is doing with telling all of these stories. You guys sort of started it, but you guys made your your series universe different.
They're
from
totally
your-
different.
You know what I mean? That's the problem. If you see what Marvel has done with WandaVision, right? That's a whole movie. It's a whole movie that is establishing what's happening to Wanda after the last time we saw her.
But you know, one of the most interesting things that DC actually did. Well, for me, I'm surprised till date that they actually did in the CW Flash series was that Ezra Miller came in the CW Flash series in his full Justice League garb, where it was actually it was basically a crisis on Infinite Earth thing had happened and had been rectified, and then so Ezra Miller's Flash was messing around with time apparently, and he showed up in the Flash universe, and they were looking at each other and they were checking out each other's suits. And what I really loved about that scene was the fact that when Ezra Miller asked Grant Gustin that, "Who are you?" and he was all like, "Here," it's like, Grant Gustin was like, "I'm the Flash." Then Ezra Miller looks at him, "The Flash, cool name," because he doesn't have a name.
Yes.
He doesn't have a name
Yeah.
yet. And then they start checking each other's suits out, and then everything.
I also something where somebody ended up in Batgirl's universe and things like that.
Yeah.
But you know how there are certain meetings that could have been an email.
Yes.
There are certain plot lines that do not have to be movies.
Mm-hmm.
You can release them as a series, so you have all of the time
To flesh them out.
Do you have something? 9 episodes, one episode is 9 episodes. You can do 6. The British series normally 6 episodes. You can do 6 and bring us along on the story while you prepare for the next thing,
big thing,
right? So you make the next thing a big thing, and we already know what's going on and where you are and all. Because if you haven't seen WandaVision, don't go and watch the next Marvel movie because you understand what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Strange 2 ties into.
Ooh, you be
Right?
lost. You be so lost.
And they say that the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. So that's the context in which we're coming into the next movie. So if you haven't watched those things, right? And those things are little character development lines that don't have to be movies.
You know, you just mentioned this, and I realized that from the Snyder Cut, we could easily get Ryan Choi to have a TV show. So Ryan Choi is the Asian doctor that worked with Victor Stone's dad.
Yes.
In the comic books,
Yes.
he's actually the atom, one of the atoms. So that's why at the end they talk that you're the professor of nanotechnology or something.
Like
yes, that's the thing.
setting up right there.
Yeah, that could easily be a TV show.
And by the way, Zack left us with a lot of stuff to expect.
So many questions.
Like,
You know what?
Deathstroke.
Let's jump to this. Jared Leto's Joker.
I have a feeling,
Yes.
right?
No, wait, first off, let me give you context. This I found out after I watched the movie, and this might create a very difference in your opinion. But apparently, Ben Affleck and Jared Leto were not on set together. None of them were on set together.
Explains the cuts.
Yes, explains the cuts.
It
Explains
explains
why
the-
when Superman
explains the-
shows up.
It explains why it looks like that scene in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but why were they not set together?
Different scheduling issues. And all
So
that
what,
stuff.
when you say none of them, who do you
So
mean?
I mean only Ben Affleck. That was the reshoot that was done. Sorry, that was the only reshoot done. Ben Affleck and Jared Leto's interaction.
Okay.
But both of them were not.
Because that I thought that was an ego issue. No, because the same thing happened in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but that was for a very different
Yeah,
reason.
But that was
a
because
different,
they were
totally
beefing,
different
right?
thing. Yeah.
But it was just weird.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the thing is,
It was just weird.
it did put to mind Jared Leto's new Joker, if I can call it that. I have a feeling that Zack Snyder really brought a lasso on set for that to rein Leto in. It seemed, because I'm watching that and I'm like, this actually seems like a Batman and Joker interaction that I've been taught to understand from their inception.
No, it's actually a more toxic one because when Batman goes like, "I swear to God, I will kill you."
But
It's a make no mistake, I will kill
Yeah,
you.
but here's the thing, but this Batman has been established to be over that hump.
Yeah, but I think this
And you saw, like, your man was using guns like, what do you call it? Fear of guns. What is that? I will blast a bitch's head right now.
So I don't have context for this because I don't know who Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is. Was he in something else?
No, Jared Leto's.
Jared Leto was
He was
he
in
something
Suicide
else?
Squad.
That was the guy from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I just I've always had a bit of an aversion to the Jokers that have come apart
Since that
from
one.
since Heath Ledger, right?
Mhm.
Because I just feel like he sort of embodied. Can you imagine Heath Ledger in this?
Imagine Heath Ledger and
Right.
Christian Bale doing that scene.
You know. So I mean,
I mean, I would rather prefer
I
Ben
don't
Affleck.
have an issue.
Actually, I would prefer Ben Affleck because
And Heath
Bale's own was a different thing, and I do accept that.
I don't have an issue with Jared Leto. I actually liked him in. I watched Suicide Squad again for fun, right?
Yeah, I like his Joker.
I like this Joker. I think his Joker is dope. I feel like in this one he's matured, which is almost
Yes.
like how does a maniac mature,
Mature.
right? So I just feel like that was interesting. That's an interesting setup. So that's one cliffhanger,
Mhm.
right? You've got the alternate universe where you have this team which is basically Amber Heard
Yeah.
What?
and Deathstroke, right?
Mhm.
On Batman's team. What's going to
But you know
You're
what?
the DC man. What? Is it a killing joke where Batman does actually finally kill the Joker?
So that one, Frank Miller never tells us. I think it's Frank Miller. He never really tells us if Batman kills the Joker, but it is insinuated that yes, Batman does kill the Joker.
I wonder if it's leading up to that.
But interesting thing that I talked about the future nightmare scene is that for me, my understanding of what's going on is that the first nightmare scene happens in BVS, and in BVS, when it happens, Batman is alone, and he gets caught by Superman and he's killed, and that's when Bruce wakes up. When he wakes up, Flash is there telling him that he needs to form the team and that Lois is the key and everything. So when they go back after they resurrect Superman and he recognizes Lois and everything, he's sitting in his chair and he's thinking, pondering. I was like, I was sitting in this chair and Barry was here and I had a dream and that showed the future. And he said, Lois is the key.
Yeah, I remember.
Then Wonder Woman was like, everybody has a key to their hearts. So maybe that he was like,
I don't
"No,
think that's it.
I don't think that's it. I think
Yeah.
it's something darker. Then at the end of this movie, it's another nightmare scene. But this time, the team has been formed. So now Batman is with. We see even Cyborg sees the future through the mother boxes where Wonder Woman was killed, Arthur was killed. Then that ties into the future. So I feel like the way Zack Snyder is making this story is like we are trying to fix this thing that seems like an inevitability. So our actions today are leading to something. And Bruce is the only one who is being privy, getting that information, that he is getting those dreams or prophetic dreams. So the next movie, how are we going to fix this? That every time is going to be how are we going to prevent this from happening. That's why I saw it like so. That's why I felt like there are a lot of questions. Even questions for prequels like why is Wayne Manor up in smokes? Is Jared Leto's Joker really
Wayne Manor
Jason
up
Todd?
in smoke. They established that in. You see, this is the thing about DC. There's a DC series on, I think it's Netflix. Titans.
Yeah,
Where
but
there's this-
I don't know if it's tied into Zack Snyder's work.
I know, but there's this epic, what's it called? Episode, right, where essentially Robin, I've forgotten what he's called when he grows up, but
The Nightwing.
Nightwing,
Yeah.
right? Nightwing and Bruce Kent is like huge fight.
Fight,
It
yeah, I
ends
remember,
up
I've seen it.
with the entire thing being
Yeah,
destroyed.
breaking up. Yeah.
So in my head, I was sort of like drawing parallels
yeah.
between all of those things, right? But you're right. You offer that's very interesting because you have like the whole Deathstroke approach.
Yeah.
Luther is back. The anti-life is on
Then we
Earth.
even have a step back, and I was like, I really
Dark
don't
side
like-
is pissed off.
Yeah.
His lieutenant is pissed off. So I
The
think
Tsar, that guy is a
right. So you have all of those plots. Then you have the little plots that what's her name, Wonder Woman and Aquaman did, where they said, we haven't spoken up, people haven't spoken up. So there's something
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
All of these are series.
There are a lot of setups, and so I guess we are bringing the conversation to a close. Are there any movies you guys are looking forward to apart from Mortal Kombat?
Kombat, yeah.
Top Gun.
I mean, I'm also looking forward to Black Widow. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's,
But
that's
you can
gonna-
tell that
that's gonna be epic.
Disney is still being extremely experimental because let's be honest, $30, the $30 paywall is a problem. Raya and the Last Dragon is a great movie, but I don't know if I would have paid $30 to see it.
Okay.
I mean, when I came over to,
Interesting.
when I came to yours to watch it with your $30, yeah, it was. There's a lot. I mean, I watched the subsequent after making it. It was interesting and it's all right, but it smacked too much of Disneyism. Although I was glad that they did not put in as much.
There were so many things that were set up that I thought, oh, Disney.
What movie is this?
Ryan the Last Dragon animation. They didn't put, and there wasn't as much singing. There wasn't any singing. I was very thankful for that. Like,
actually, some people don't like that. It's actually a conversation because have you guys seen the new Tom and Jerry movie from Warner Brothers? I have. This is one. If you get an opportunity, this is one thing I love about the Tom and Jerry movie. Whoever
was animation, live action, what?
It's live action, right? It's live action, but what makes it super fantastic? Whoever thought of this is a genius. Every animal in that live action is an animated animal.
Apart from Tom and Jerry.
No, including Tom and Jerry.
Interesting.
So the animals, every animal, so even just random shots of random animals moving out are all animated animals. It's only the humans that are human. So it doesn't take away from the experience right? So that
right. I didn't even know there was a Tom and Jerry movie out.
It's with
It's divisive. I'll call it that.
It's divisive, but apparently it's doing better than Ray.
I'm looking forward to Luca.
Oh yeah. The swimming mermaid thing.
I'm looking forward to Luca. I think that might be interesting from an animation perspective.
But so basically, after $30 for Mulan, $30 for Ray and the Last Dragon.
How was Mulan? Terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I heard.
I don't know. People are speculating that Disney still wants to release Black Widow in cinemas. So they're going to wait because cinemas are reopening right now.
But you don't lose anything by releasing in cinemas and releasing in online platforms. Like the video on demand stuff is not a big deal anymore. Because I feel like
you feel like
when you said Tom and Jerry, I just thought no, because I what you have to lose, man? You don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, and you actually have a lot to gain.
Like I feel like they're afraid of embracing this new reality, right? But
Hollywood doesn't really want to embrace.
Yeah, but nobody. Look, I can show you an ad from the 19 whatever's where there's a guy who actually ran an ad against cars and he's saying a horse. You don't have to change the saddle for your horse. Horseshoes are cheaper than tires.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are.
You know what I mean? So it's an interesting business model to explore.
Yeah.
You might as well start exploring it. Like I get it if you have like a cinematic version and you have like a streaming on demand version or whatever. But you need to embrace it because there's some movies that I won't get up and go to a cinema for. Like it's no longer worth the risk. Like what would you have wanted to
not
see
even the
in
risk,
the cinema
just
over the last 2 years? What movie would you have wanted to see in the cinema?
Let me say this.
And we're in Ghana.
Let me say this. It may feel very slanderous, but if I think about it, considering what is happening in the world today, every Marvel movie except the Avengers ones, I wouldn't watch in the cinema. I would watch every Avengers movie in the cinema. Because it's the team up, the
Completely
big thing,
agree.
everything. But every other movie, I'll probably just watch it at home.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I completely agree.
Fair
Like-
assessment.
Would you watch Born in the cinema?
Born, no.
So this is my point, right? We've gotten too used to the couch culture to now give it up. Right? What's my cinema experience now? Ghana, you still can book tickets in advance, so clearly I have to go and stand
But
and
forget
queue
that.
and then buy. I mean, why? What are you saying?
But yeah, you can't even check to see if a show is showing in advance.
Yeah,
So
and
you-
there were these stupid things that used to happen. It happened to us a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
What would go and then think is not even playing. Yeah, like guys, make it happen.
I mean, I'm so sad that Silver Bed isn't open though.
I'm insane.
Why?
but-
What would you have gone to do?
I mean,
I mean,
I'm not
No,
expecting.
I'm coming. Wait, hold on.
Nothing. I'm just sad.
What would you have, no, but what would you have gone to do at Silver?
Nothing.
What's happening there?
I wasn't expecting them to show Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer there. I wasn't expecting that, even though right now it is literally the most successful anime movie of all time.
So let's be real. Based on everything based on our current reality, right? This is a post-Thanos universe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you guys, do you think the snap?
Rippled into
do
the
you
real
think the snap rippled into the real one? Because but listen, like, and people don't like to embrace change, right? But we have to embrace the change.
Yeah.
What it needs to be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean? It needs to be, for me to get up and make the trip to the cinema. It needs to be, bro. If I've watched Coming to America 2 in my house,
We should talk about Coming to America too.
I loved it. You guys, I can't even hate.
We will talk about that another time. So we've recorded something almost half the length of the
Snyder Cut. We release it in parts.
In parts, yeah, probably do that in parts. So we hope to have more of these conversations.
I think we should say that House Critics is officially back, at least as a, what is this, a podcast?
Yeah, it's a podcast, a video podcast as well. And well, look forward to more things from us. We are actually looking to do something with cars.
Maybe
Because interesting enough,
Car Critics.
we are
Hello? See? Just like that, we have a name.
we love cars. We all love cars. And yeah, I mean, these niggas love the. Wow, I said niggas on YouTube. Wow. These guys.
and
love.
there goes monetization. We missed you so.
Why you can't say niggas?
No, you can't. You just did.
So
But
what would you say?
Oh, what are you?
gentlemen.
These
Bitches.
gentlemen.
Yeah. So these gents actually love the. So I think you guys are more of the petrol heads,
And you are an EV person.
and I think I'm the gear head because the way it works is what's more interesting to me. Because when I'm with you guys and you guys are speeding,
I
I'm always
don't-
asking a question,
So
I don't
is
think
it,
I'm a petrol head.
doesn't that make him James me?
which is fine.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
mind. I don't mind being.
I don't
James
think I'm the petrol head though.
Wade. Okay.
Do you know, like, when it comes
You
to
are.
cars,
You are.
you think so?
You are unabashedly a petrol head, Obii. You are unabashedly. I know I'm a petrol head. You are too.
No, me, I think I just like to drive.
You like
I
to
enjoy the
drive
engineering
and you
of driving
enjoy cars
fast.
as well. My guy,
Yeah, so maybe you're both.
how many times have I been with you? You're sitting somewhere and a nice car passes, the conversation stops on a dime. Then we just look, get our fill, and then continue back to where we
Look,
were.
true story.
Yeah.
True story. I've been known to forget where I was going in traffic. When I see a car. So, especially in Osu, it happens a lot. Like this one time I saw Ibrahim Mahama, like I don't know where he was driving, but I stopped. I stopped, and I just rolled on my window and I was like, yo. And I actually like nodded to him, he nodded back, and I was just like, I was waiting for the sound because he was reversing onto the road, right? So I stopped to give him let
way.
him-
Yeah.
and then
right.
and then he sort of saw me, he acknowledged me, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, nice car. So he was like very cool, like road and everything. And then I was just there waiting for the car to drive off. And he was waiting for the traffic in front of him to go so that so we both did it. And the cars were like, pay. I'm like, bros, you guys calm down. And then he goes, and he does one final noise like, and I'm like,
That is it.
and I'm feeling like I'm just clapping. I'm just like, yeah. I was like, hello, boy. Where are we going, bro? Where are we going?
Why am I here in the first place?
So hopefully we have more car stories. So expect more from us. So this is a wrap.
Finally.
Yeah. It's actually almost midnight.
Yep,
Oh, really?
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, it's past midnight. It's 9 minutes
midnight.
past
Wow.
Okay, so it's a wrap, and thank you guys for watching. Do the usual: like, share, comment, subscribe, and yeah, if you have anything to say about the Snyder Cut, if there's anything else you want us to talk about, any movie you want us to see, tangent. There's a show on Netflix that I think you guys should check out. I'll tell you after the podcast. I want you Obii,
What's it called?
you Obii. This is I've forgotten the title, but it's the way I'm always wondering how reality shows, like, who comes up with these ideas. I know I
Oh
heard
god,
the one I
guess
told you about.
Yep, that one.
I hear it's a bit old. It's an MTV. Yes, but basically, it's 20 people, 10 men, 10 women. Put them in a house, and now they have the producers have come to talk to them, and these people have difficulty in getting solid relationships.
Uh-huh.
They are not able to get very good relationships. So the producers talk to them and they tell the producers why they think they can't get solid relationships. But the producers also go and ask their family members, their close friends, and then their exes. Based on all this information that they get, they find the perfect match for, let's say, you. So in the 20 people there, the 10 guys and 10 girls, each person has their perfect match there, based on all the things that the producers have gotten. Now the catch of the show is that everybody has to find their perfect match. Otherwise, they don't get the money, and it's $1 million prize pool that they are all supposed to share. So $50,000 per person. Now, if you find your perfect match and Michael doesn't find his perfect match by the end of the period, we all don't get the cash. But if all 10 of us are able to do a 10 for 10, even if in the second week we're able to do 10 for 10, the show is over, you get your money and you go.
Wow.
And it is a riot.
It's a spicy boy.
What's the code?
I'll text you the name. I've forgotten the.
I'm game.
Yeah. All right. So catch you guys.
We didn't talk about tennis, yo.
We'll talk about everything.
Bruh, with everything that's going on tennis there, that's another long conversation.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
Peace.